Nation and gamers all round. Welcome to episode 19 of the Greatness Podcast with myself, Supersonic Wolf, the guy that takes all the W's and hands over the L's to all you weirdos out there. And we're going to give our final roundup on this year's E3 and what we thought about it. And we're also going to talk about many other topics based on some of the stuff that went down earlier today too. So some interesting topics to discuss. But before we get into that, I do want to introduce my main man right here. You know, my co-host, the god of PlayStation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kratos.
Hey everybody, it's your boy J-Dub, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation and the god of all things gaming. Thank you guys for rocking out with us tonight. Again, we're going to bring you a great show as usual. We have some great topics and we're going to keep it nice, calm, and collective as we entertain you guys. Let's get it.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Let's get it. Now, it's been a very interesting E3. A lot's been going down in between. Hold on, let me just get everything here. Let me get all my stuff together. See all the chat and everything. Yep, I can see the chat. But yeah, it's been a great E3 for some. For others, it's been pretty much miserable. And you know, all the third-party stuff, we're not going to talk about that. You know, we're not going to talk about EA. We're not going to talk about Ubisoft, Bethesda, you know, or Square Enix or whatever. We're not here to talk about them because all their games are on all three platforms. You know, it is what it is. But when I hear guys talk about, oh, Ubisoft won E3, I'm like, how the hell did they win E3? What is there to win? They don't have a console. You know what I'm saying? So when people try to pull that off on me, I just find that kind of jarring in a way. It's like every Ubisoft game is going to be on PlayStation and the Xbox. So stop with the Ubisoft winning E3. No, stop with that shit. But anyway, let's just get to it, man. Like Microsoft, you know, there was everybody, you know, including yourself, myself, you know, Cervantes, everyone that was on that live stream when we were doing our live reaction, and it was all authentic. You know, it wasn't scripted or anything like that. We felt the way we felt at that given moment. You know, ain't nothing gonna change that. But yeah, you know, from the moment we saw Microsoft's E3, because remember there was a lot riding on it. You know what I'm saying? This was their opportunity. Remember, you only get one chance to make a first impression. You know, those are just the facts. We only have one chance. Yeah, we only have one chance to make a first impression. And you know, they showed what they had to show. They, you know, I don't know if they had any load to begin with, but we know Phil Spencer's been in charge of the Xbox division for over 3 years. So we were thinking at the beginning that, hey, whatever fruit he's been growing, we're gonna finally get to see it. You know?
Yeah.
As far as new IPs go, as far as anything new, anything cool, anything innovative, anything that's groundbreaking that will take advantage of the, you know, this console that everyone's hyping up. You know, because that's all I've been hearing for like 16 months straight. It's Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. I remember a lot of Xbox guys say, you know what, I'm going to give him to E3. Remember that? We're going to give him to E3, and if they don't show up, we're jumping ship.
Jumping ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You remember all that, right? I'm not going to name drop anyone, but you pretty much remember all those guys that were saying that, you know what, just give him till E3, they're gonna launch new this. And remember when they were dry at the beginning of the year, they were saying, oh, they're saving everything for E3, they're saving everything for E3. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Exactly. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, while you wait, I'm gonna play this greatness right here, yo. And that's exactly what I did. But you know, E3 went down, they came out, you know, trying to swing. If you were, you know, a lot of people were saying that, yo, they're gonna have haymakers, yo. We're gonna see some haymakers, man. We didn't even see no jabs. You know, I seen little pokes here and there, like little. I don't know, man. I didn't see nothing like in terms of haymakers and mic drop moments
Hmm.
besides the backwards compatibility with the OG Xbox. Um, look, before I get into my little rant, I just want to hear what you have to say on it, man. Because since you're the god of PlayStation, you own everything, including
Exactly.
Olympus. So let me know, man, how it went down for you and what you thought.
Well, since I am the god of PlayStation and Xbox
Uh oh.
and everything in between, my say so should, again, this is my opinion, but I'm gonna keep it real. I'm taking my fanboy hat on, off. I mean, Microsoft's conference I thought was pretty good, but I thought it was pretty good. Now,
Mm.
when I say pretty good, I want to explain what I mean by
All
pretty
right, now
good.
when you're saying
It
that, I didn't mean to interrupt you. When you're saying that, I'm assuming that you mean that really lightly. But go ahead.
when I okay, so here's the thing, okay? Microsoft has not delivered this generation for me, and I'm a day one buyer. So I spent 500 and some odd dollars, not including games, controllers, and everything else. So I spent a lot of money. It was
Mm.
a big investment for me for day one, and I have not gotten my return on investment from that console. So when I say they had a good E3 showing, I mean for Microsoft, for what I have grown to expect from Microsoft, it was pretty good. Now, the problem comes in is when I try to compare their showing to the other two companies. That's when it starts to, get the grade of a C or a B or C goes lower and lower when I start comparing it.
Mm.
So, I have to look at, Microsoft with the side eye all the time. And then so I take them with the side eye. I look at them kind of cockeyed because they say a lot of things, they do a lot of things that is just so fishy to me. They talk a lot, but their output is very little. And I was always taught that the guy with the biggest mouth, the loudest guy in the room, is the guy that's never gonna deliver. And I think this E3 kind
Is
of
it is
showed
it is
that.
it kind of like the dude that would be going around saying, "Yo, I got a big dick," but then
Yes,
when he pulls his
but he
pants down in front of a girl, she sees nothing there. Is it like one of those situations?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Oh,
the
I hear
guy
you.
that's always bragging on himself, but he's the guy you never see hanging around girls. So it's like, you want to brag about, this and that, but I never see no chicks on your arm. It's kind of like that. So I think Microsoft needs to learn to be more humble. They need to be like Nintendo. Nintendo don't brag. Nintendo don't say shit. They stay in their own lane. They mind their own business and they just deliver whatever they feel like they're going to deliver, and either you like it or you don't. And that way, you can't box Nintendo in a corner saying, "Well, you promised this or you promised that." They never did. They're just going to give you what they think that they can deliver to you, and you either like it or you don't. And they've been successful for all these years. Microsoft, on the other hand, they don't have any studios. They don't have any major IPs that people care about anymore. They are not willing to invest in studios. And they brag about this and they brag about that. But at the end of the day, all we saw was a bunch of games that are going to end up on the PlayStation, PC, and even some on the Switch. You cannot brag on something that a person was going to get anyway.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, you
know,
can
Wolf,
do that.
if
I know,
if
and you
me
hear
if
the little sound where it says exclusive, exclusive,
it's
exclusive, and then when you read on the screen it says console launch exclusive. But when when they're saying it, they're saying exclusive, exclusive.
yeah,
I'm like, bruh,
yeah,
like you're trying to mislead everybody, you're trying to confuse everybody. You
yeah,
had to get journalists asking you a million questions just for you to clarify that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And then they went
yeah,
ahead. I think that guy Chris Carler, one of the guys from
yeah,
Idea Xbox, he had to clarify everything, saying that hey, console launch exclusive means that, hey, there's a certain window there. We're not going to prevent these indie developers to put some of their games on other platforms. So,
Yeah.
they had to clarify it because they were trying to mislead a lot of people. Now they know.
Yes.
Go on, carry on, man.
They they basically renamed timed exclusive. They basically found a new marketing term for it, and it is misleading. If your system is as good as you say it is, if your product is what you say it is, it sells itself. You don't have to lie. You don't have to come up with these misleading and these just straight up lying tactics to try to sell a few consoles, because eventually people find out. Eventually people found out that your definition of true 4K is not true 4K.
Hey, remember you said you're gonna get into that in a bit.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
separate
I
rant.
just wanted, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, just to let people know.
Oh, you want to
where I'm
get
gonna lead
warmed up?
to.
I see what you're trying
Yeah,
to do.
yeah. But I'm trying to establish Microsoft's credibility here, and the reason I gave them a solid C conference. I went in expecting a lot because that's what
Bangers,
was told
right?
to me. Yeah, that's what was told, right? Remember they did tell you, Wolf. They did tell you that they had so many bangers that we're gonna have to save it for a different show, and we see how that worked out. Now, I thought that Microsoft had a good showing for what I can come to expect from Microsoft. It was good, but when I compare it to the competition, it was okay. One thing I'll tell you, I did like,
Tell us what you like. Let's talk about the positives first. Like, what did you like?
I like the pacing of it. I like the pacing of their show. They were very confident. I do like that. They did show their confidence. They came out. They showed you some games that looked good. They came out with Metro. I did not know about that game, the Metro Exodus. I didn't know about. I didn't even know that they were creating that game. I've played those on the PC since Stalker series, and it was crazy. So I was like, wow, man. I was looking at the graphics. I'm like, holy shit. Microsoft did it. They came out, they showed you a game that is running on the Scorpio, and it looks fantastic. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And unfortunately I was kind of let down when the truth came out,
Yeah.
but I'll get there later. And then they kept on from there. They kept that momentum going from there. They showed us some more games, game after game, and the games look good. I'm not gonna lie. They showed us Assassin's Creed. Looks really good.
Beautiful looking game.
Day one bought for me. I bought the collector's edition. Can't wait for that to come in. A little bit more. Again, this is all gonna wind up to misleading. I just, it's running on the Scorpio, 4K 60, 6 teraflops pumping on all channels, looking good. Then after that, they showed, your Forza. Obviously, that's going to look good. It's a racer. It's going to be 4K 60, obviously. And, they showed us some indies and some other titles that looked pretty good. And then from there, I guess it kind of just fizzled out. I think the anticipation of them coming out with, something just so big and huge, I kind of felt let down because the anticipation, it's kind of like that chick you met at the club, and you brought her back to your house, and you guys get to talking, and you got slow music on and everything.
Got them.
And,
you got the old Jodeci man in the background. You got them
yeah, you
slow
got
jams.
the
And everything.
Jodeci, you got the slow jams. You go in there and get your mouthwash, and you're ready to go. And then and then you think you're finna hit home base, and she tell you, let's just be friends. That feeling is what you got. You got the friend zone thing,
So you
and
meaning to tell me Microsoft friend zoned the Xbox
ye-
community?
yes, they put them in a friend zone. No foreplay, no nothing else, just straight friends.
Damn, yo,
She
man.
she she
Not
she
even a
gave you
lap
that.
dance, no lap dance, no
She,
none, bruh.
they gave you. She gave you that. That I think of you as a brother and not a boyfriend. Look.
Damn,
That's
that's
what
crazy. So
happened,
you
man.
meet them in the club, right?
Yeah.
She's grinding, like
Yeah.
she's grinding, she's shaking her ass right in front of you, and then you're taking
Yeah.
her home, and then it led to that. That's just crazy, bruh.
Yeah. That's what it is, man. So it kind of warms you up for everything, but it never quite. And shout out to my man Craig. He has the greatest analogies ever. I just kind of
Yo,
stole
shout
one
out
from
to my boy
him.
Craig Harris, man. Like,
Yeah. He
top dude.
he
You know what?
has.
Everyone that's watching this, subscribe to him, man. Like, he has great content, and he's always
Yeah.
like, yo, he's always doing
Yeah.
his podcast, man, and he's always on point.
Yeah. So, and so I guess I was just kind of worked up and stuff, and I was like, you know what? Okay, well, fine. They didn't close the deal. At least I saw some games running in 4K 60 uncompromised. At least they have that.
I guess so.
And that's what that was, man. So I'll give it a solid C. They didn't screw it up. That's at least I can say that they did not screw the conference up. They
Okay.
didn't trip. They didn't trip over their own feet like they normally do. They were able to go in there, get their message across, and walk out.
Okay. Uh,
Uh,
can I chime in now for my
yeah,
say on
go ahead.
this?
Your say
Well,
so. Your time.
you know what? Like even leading up to E3, I was being very positive. I was being optimistic. Like everyone knows, a lot of people in the chat know, a lot of people in social media, on YouTube, on Twitter. People know that I was optimistic and I was very hopeful. I was hoping that they could pull it off. I was hoping that hey, they probably have some aces up their sleeve, and man, they're gonna give some haymakers and everything and just really hit it at the ballpark. And
Yeah.
they started off. They showed the hardware, showed what it can do, but they were really regurgitating what Digital Foundry were doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I
Yeah.
knew about this already, so like it kind of left. I don't know. It left a bad impression on me in a way, but I get why they
Yeah.
had to do it because not everyone knows about Digital Foundry, especially the
Yeah.
casuals out there. Because you have to bear in mind a lot of casuals out there they watch E3 too.
Yeah.
Not just the hardcore. So I guess they have to regurgitate all that stuff from Digital Foundry and let people know about the power, what's under the hood, and what it can do. What's the CPU, what's the memory bandwidth, and how much gigabytes per second it is, and all that kind of crazy stuff. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so but the good thing is that they kind of got it out the way pretty quick. I thought they were gonna take longer. That's what I thought. I thought, man, I hope they don't take like 20, 30 minutes on this. They took like a good 10 to 12 minutes maybe.
Uh
They
huh.
got the whole hardware thing out the way, and then they said, you know what? It's all about the games, and everything you're gonna see is gonna be running in 4K on this monster. That's what he said, right? I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So then they started off with Forza. It looked good, I'm a big fan of Forza. Everyone knows. It's not really a secret. I'm a big fan. It looked really good. I saw the shots, they took in Dubai. The tracks look good. The cars look great. And then all of a sudden, like, you had, Dan Greenwald coming out, and he just turned it into a freaking car show. And
Yeah.
like, bruh, I ain't trying to look at the car right now, man. Like, I just want to get to the point. Like, show me a little bit more gameplay and just keep it moving. But
Yeah.
he wasted a good few minutes, like explaining about the partnership with Porsche and showing gameplay. I mean, not showing game, but showing the car, unveiling the new model and everything. Blah 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 blah. It got a little bit boring. Like, this is a game show. It's not a car show. That's what Microsoft need to realize. Like, they've done stuff like this before. They've shown cars before. I remember. Oh, what's the McLaren? Back in
Yeah.
2013.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember they showed the
Yeah,
McLaren. Was it the
the P1,
the
the
P1? Yeah, it
McLaren
was a
P1.
P1. Yeah. So they showed that. I remember they tried to show. Was it the Lamborghini? The yellow Lamborghini,
Yes,
and it
yes,
came from under the floor. I remember that too with the Forza Horizon. And
yes.
now they're doing it again with Porsche, but this time it came from the side.
Hmm.
And they've done things like this. They've had celebrities. They had Usher coming on stage. With the Just Dance thing. And I was thinking to myself, like, are they going down that route again? Like, haven't they learned?
Yeah, yeah,
It's a gaming show. It's not a concert. It's not a
yeah,
car show. It's not a concert. They have to learn, man. And it just seems to me that they haven't really learned. You know,
yeah,
they're trying to make it all glamorous and everything. It's a gaming show. You know,
yeah.
a lot of people who are there, they probably don't care about stuff like that.
And see, that's the thing about it, Wolf. That goes back to what I was saying. Gimmicks.
Mm.
Microsoft is full of gimmicks, man, and it's like, stop the gimmicks. The gimmicks do not work.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the leader. Sometimes it's easy to just follow the leader.
Now, I don't
If you,
mind if you got like celebrities coming out sometimes, and as long as it's about the game and they're in the game, that's cool,
yeah,
right? But we get to the whole
yeah,
celebrity thing in a second, though. But the Forza thing, it looked good, 4K 60,
yeah,
bang on. I like it,
yeah,
and I'm a big fan. So I'll give him points for that. But as far as the build up to it, man, that kind of, I don't know, made me feel a certain way. But then they were showing Assassin's Creed. I'm a big fan of Assassin's Creed. It was a great marketing deal. They
hmm,
needed some marketing deals because like Sony were just completely killing them when it comes to marketing deals. It's like they had nothing left as far as third party goes. So at least they got Assassin's Creed. It looks good, and in my opinion, that destroys The Witcher. I'm sorry
yeah,
if you're a big fan of The Witcher. I'm just telling you that Assassin's Creed Origins, man. I'm gonna be there day one for that, man. And I find it
yeah,
way more appealing than The Witcher. But
yeah,
yo, that was a good game. And then they had the new Metro Exodus game, the new Metro, and it looked absolutely incredible. Like you said, I'm like, damn, man, Microsoft are
yeah,
not paying. And at that point, I actually thought it was exclusive. I actually thought this is an
yeah.
Xbox One, Windows 10 exclusive. I thought it was legit.
Hmm.
And then after they showed that, I felt like they kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit because they were starting to show, indie after indie after indie after indie.
Hmm.
Some of these things they could be shown at the pre-show or the after show. You could show
Yeah,
these things during the Xbox Daily show. It's like you don't have to show all of that during the big stage. You're trying to sell a Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? You want to show what this console can do. And now by having 4K indies, that's not going to do it. Every gamer out there
yeah,
knows that. And then the whole Minecraft thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I guess the chick, that girl with the big hips, I guess she looked good. The hips look great, but
oh yeah, Miss Sticky Fine. Man, that girl, that was
yeah,
thick.
man, Miss Sticky Fine, she looked really good with those big hips. But I'm not really into chicks with short hair to begin with, so she does need to grow it. So hopefully next year she could grow that hair if she comes out and talks about Minecraft again, because I know she's gonna do that anyway. They talk about
Yeah,
Minecraft every year, but this year they done it again. I remember in 2015 they showed it on HoloLens. Last year they showed it on iPad. This year they're talking about 4K Minecraft. They're talking about 8-bit pixels running in 4K.
yeah,
I'm thinking to myself, man, you could have these 8-bit or 4-bit pixels running in 100K, a million frames per second. And it's just so funny how they try to sell that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, yo, Minecraft looks incredible in 4K. It's like you cannot tell the difference. It's still 8-bit. You know what I'm saying? It's still 8-bit pixels. So rendering that in 4K is not going to do anything for the game. You
yeah,
know? And yeah, they showed a little trailer with the texture packs or the line or whatever. And then they showed crossplay between the Xbox One and the Switch. They actually announced that, yes, it's going to be crossplay between the Switch and the Xbox. And I think that was pretty cool. Especially for the Minecraft community. And I know it's a very big community. Minecraft is a juggernaut. It's on NPD every single month. One of the biggest selling franchises out there. It's definitely up there with the likes of Call of Duty and GTA. It sells a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I understand that Microsoft made a $2.5 billion investment, in the studio and in the IP. So they want to profit from it. So I guess if they want to show it at E3, who am I to say they shouldn't? But they're doing it all the time, and they spend way too long trying to do it. You know.
Yeah.
But there's other events where you could do all of that. They have this event called Minecon, which is over here in the UK in London, and I think over thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people go there. Like I think it's like a good 6,000-7,000 people go to Minecon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
yeah.
QuakeCon. It's really big.
Exactly.
But yeah, man, the whole Minecraft thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And then Sea of Thieves, they showed Sea of Thieves for like good 10 minutes. I'm thinking to myself, like, it was a snooze fest. It's because they showed Sea of Thieves for 3 years straight. They showed it in 2015 with a trailer. They showed it last year with that cringe gameplay, which looked all scripted. Because they're trying to make it look like everyone's having fun and everything. That shit looks so damn fake. And then they try to show a little bit of gameplay. And yeah, it looks better. It's definitely improved from, the last time I've seen it. And, that game didn't really have a good showing. Especially with the betas and the alphas and everything. So people started to think that this game is trash. It doesn't look good. And some people also said, including myself, I actually thought that it could be a free-to-play. But they still haven't given enough info on it. So until they confirm it and they give a price on it, I still think it could be a free-to-play game.
That's true.
But yeah, they're still tight-lipped over that. It's still very tight-lipped. But it looks like, it looks like you can have fun playing that game, But then again, you have another game called Skull and Bones by Ubisoft, another pirate game that looks freaking absolutely incredible. But yo, I don't I don't want to talk about that because we said we're not going to talk about Ubisoft. But 10 minutes was way too long, man, for stage time. So which I know I started to have this doubt in my mind. Yeah, I started to have this doubt in my mind that what, I don't think they're gonna have that much to show. Because if you're gonna give a game like that 10 freaking minutes, it seems to me that you're trying to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that much to show. And then the rest of it seemed to be like shovelware. You know what I'm saying? Like fillers and everything like that. I'll tell you what I did like though. I like the Dragon Ball Z fighters that look good from Arc System Works. Definitely buying that. Give props to Phil for signing that game and getting the marketing for it or whatever and showing it on his stage. So he's trying. So I recognize that. I'll give credit where credit is due. And then he also signed for Code Vein. So it seems like when he went over to Japan, most of the deals that he did get from over there were from Namco Bandai. Because Code Vein is also from Namco Bandai. Or Bandai Namco, or however you want to pronounce it. So Code Vein and Dragon Ball Z Fighters, I think he signed for those two. And then he also got that Korean MMO. Was it Black Desert?
Black Desert, yeah.
Definitely a good game. It was definitely a great signing, but it seems like that's another console launch exclusive, and that may well go to the PlayStation 2. So I really don't know, man. Then I started to see more of those. Now, my favorite announcement, my favorite game announcement. I ain't gonna talk about my favorite announcement, but my favorite game announcement was probably Ori and the Blind Forest 2. Because I loved the first one. So that was a great announcement. I liked the way they had the live music being played with the guy on the piano, and then they were showing the trailer. That was really cool. So I appreciate the art of a certain game, especially when it comes down to the music, because I appreciate entertainment. That's just me,
Yeah.
So that whole Ori thing to me was cool, and I appreciated that. But then after that, it was just bare bones. They ended the game with a multi-plat. They ended the game, but they ended the press conference with a multi-plat. and we know this game is going to go on the PlayStation 4, which is Anthem. Anthem looked absolutely incredible. I ain't gonna
It
lie.
did.
I'm a big fan of
It
BioWare,
did.
and this is made by the original BioWare, minus Casey Hudson. But yeah, this was made
Mm-hmm.
by the original guys who made the original trilogy of Mass Effect. So this is their A team. It wasn't
Yeah.
the guys who made freaking Andromeda. Completely different team.
Andromeda.
Now, Andromeda is still a decent game. And I know Kratos, you're a fan of it and you enjoyed it for what it is. But, that game
Yeah.
got a bad rap. It is what it is. But we all think
Well,
differently.
yeah.
Now, I'm not really in a position to say anything about the game because I haven't played it. So I'm not going to say shit because I haven't played it. I'm just not a fraud like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to talk about a game that I haven't played.
Yeah.
But,
Uh,
back on topic, it was a great
mhm.
game. And, you ended it with a multi-plat, which, I don't know, it made me scratch my head. The OG Xbox
Mhm.
backwards compatibility was great. I'm sure, a lot of fans of the OG Xbox who were with the Xbox since that console, I'm sure a lot of them I appreciate it, because I had that
Mhm.
console. I have over 160 games. You do know that, right? I have over
Yeah.
160
Yeah.
OG Xbox games. But apparently I'm Pony Wolf. You know?
Yeah.
I know, man. It's just crazy.
Uh,
But the good thing about it, though, that a good thing about that announcement is that the games are gonna definitely look better. They're gonna up-res some of them, so some of these games are gonna
mhm.
be in HD, which is definitely cool. I don't know
Well,
what
well,
it.
you know me, man. I'm allergic to old games. I get
Yeah,
headaches when I look at subpar graphics and subpar resolution. My eyes start bleeding. I get headaches and stuff. Uh, I just once I go up, man, I just can't go back. So, I do have my OG Xbox. So when I get that itch, man, I'll go break it out, plug it up to the TV, play it for about 30 minutes, and then I box
yeah,
it up and stick it back up.
yeah.
Um,
No, but
yeah,
the reason why I find it cool is because I love the OG Xbox and I like some of the exclusives that they had on that console. They
yeah.
had a lot of Sega exclusives like Jet Set Radio, Panzer Dragoon Orta. They also had Otogi, Crazy Taxi, House of the Dead, Shenmue
But
2.
let me
These are
ask you this.
classics,
Yeah,
man.
you're
These,
right. You're right. But let me ask you this. All of these great games that you're just talking about that was on the OG Xbox, doesn't that depress you? The fact that you're able to name all of those games, but you can only name a handful of games that were actually any good on the current console? I mean, don't that show you where Microsoft used to be compared to where they are now?
well,
And,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
ask
yeah.
yourself,
There's a big difference,
why
man.
can't you have those games again? Think about it. Sony is giving you, they gave you The Last Guardian, they gave you The Shadow of Colossus now. I mean, they're reaching back and they're bringing these games forward. And then it seems like the only thing Microsoft can do is bring you Phantom Dust, which is, I mean, they didn't touch the game. They
But
just,
but no, but then again, we can't really complain about that because the game was free anyway. So we can't really complain. They
I
they, they,
get it.
they, they
I
brought
get
back
it.
Voodoo Vince, which is another OG Xbox game. But you know what I'm guessing right now? What Microsoft have done with the OG Xbox backwards compatibility. You know how on PC you got the No DC, you got the Dolphin emulator and all that, and
Yeah,
when you put in
yeah,
the
yeah,
discs, the way the emulator is, basically it improves the resolution. It kind of improves the overall look of the game. So I think they're gonna try use or actually patch the console with this emulator
mhm,
in the console where if you put in the OG Xbox game, if you put in the disc, it will play it and it will look better. The one game I do want to
uh,
play on that was compatible with OG Xbox games is Shenmue 2. I would love to play
yeah,
Shenmue 2 again and I would love to stream it. I will do a live stream on it. As soon as it's
yeah,
backwards compatible, I have Shenmue 2 right there on my shelf on the OG Xbox and I will stream that shit right there and there. So far,
yeah,
all they shown was Crimson Skies. Yeah, Crimson Skies was an okay game, but I wasn't too big on it like that. I was more into the
But
Sega games.
here's the thing. There's a bunch of my friends. There's a bunch of Xbox guys that I know have been asking for a new one, not the old one.
Mm.
So it's like, why can't you guys muster up some money and go and get a new Crimson Skies? Like, you have to step out the box and try new things. You just can't take the old stuff from 2 and 3 generations ago and think that that's going to satisfy the masses.
No, it's
It's
not.
not.
It's not. It's not. But it's going to
Yeah,
satisfy those who are into backwards compatibility and those who are
yeah,
into, classic bangers, retro games and
yeah,
everything. Like I'm into stuff like that personally. I would love to
yeah.
replay some of those, and I'm actually hoping that Phil can listen and add achievements on some of those games. That would definitely be awesome. Have some of them, downloadable on the store. Like if
Hmm.
you know, have like a separate OG Xbox store with some of those bangers from back then.
Hmm.
Let people buy them on the store and download them. Because
Yeah,
you know for a fact that some of those games are pretty rare. You know what I'm saying? They'll be really hard to find out there. Because this
yeah,
is from like what 2 generations back.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're
So
right.
it'll be hard to find some of those games again. So if they announce a certain game backwards compat, if you go to GameStop or Game in the UK, you won't be able to find them. You'll have to go to some like I don't know, some mom and pop or whatever. You'll have to go
Some
somewhere to
mom and
find
pop,
them,
sure.
or a
Yeah,
pre-owned store. But yeah, it'll be hard to
I
find. So
get
if you
it.
make it available to download and make it, make sure it's not expensive. Like have it at 9.99 or 4.99 or maybe something like that. Then people will definitely go out and buy it, man. And then we'll just add sales to those games. You
Hmm.
know, which is a good thing for those developers out there who, didn't make that much money when the game originally launched. It'll be great for them.
Yeah.
But that's all I can take from it. Overall, if you're a casual and you don't care about exclusives, it was a great gaming show. But like I said, if you like games and if you like exclusive games and exclusive bangers, it was pretty bare bones and they didn't really have that much to show. And it left me really, I came out of that E3 very concerned,
Hmm.
especially with what they have going on with first party. I'm really concerned because I remember hearing all these rumors that they locked down Ninja Gaiden 4. They have this Square Enix exclusive which turned out to be freaking Life is Strange, which is a multi-plat. Um, and that was another L, I guess, because they did
Yeah.
say that Square Enix they're gonna announce a game on the Microsoft press conference, but it just turned out to be freaking Life is Strange 2, which is on
Well,
everything.
let me ask you this: do you think are the rumors, the made up
Yeah.
rumors,
Mm.
and our expectations were just too much that we shouldn't have backed Microsoft into a corner like that without them announcing anything? Because I think a lot of that kind of went on as well. I can't fault them for something
Hold on,
that
hold on.
some
Let me just
idiot.
say something. Mega
Uh-huh.
Primetron just said, "Iron Wolf, let the man talk." What the fuck are you talking about, you freaking moron? I ain't even cutting him off. But anyway, go and carry on, bro, man.
Yeah. Like, do you think that listen to a bunch of guys on YouTube and Twitter bringing up these rumors that they have absolutely no clue about? Do you think that backed Microsoft into a corner where they just couldn't win? And the same thing for Sony, because I've heard rumors on both sides about all these different things, and it just seems like this year none of that stuff turned out to be true. Everything was false. All the rumors. So do you think we're trying to hold Microsoft and Sony accountable for stuff that were just rumors that had no evidence at all?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When it comes down to rumors, I don't want to hold Microsoft or Sony accountable for them. Because at the end of the day, rumors is rumors, right? That's just the fanboys out there, whether it's on NeoGAF or on Twitter or Reddit. They're the guys who are spreading it out. You know, we
Yeah.
can't really hold, either one of these companies responsible for it, whether it's Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. I don't blame any of them. I don't hold them
Yeah.
accountable for it. So, but one thing I can say is, you know, I did have my expectations. It was pretty. I wouldn't say it was high, but it was way above what we end up getting anyway. I was expecting more
Hmm.
than what we had. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was like, man, I thought at least what they can do or what they could have done is at least announce this new IP. And I was hearing that hey, Microsoft have a deal with Capcom Vancouver for a Dino Crisis reboot, and I also heard the
Oh
same
man.
rumor about an open world RPG with another developer. I heard these rumors, man. Like, yo, they have this open world RPG that looks absolutely incredible. That's gonna really, showcase the power of the Scorpio. It's gonna be on the level or even surpass Horizon Zero Dawn on a technical level. I was hearing all of these things
Oh
seriously,
boy. Now
and
we
I
we should.
remember, and I also remember, because this is actually true. Microsoft did sign a free game deal with Deck 13, the guys who made Laws of the Fallen, and the most recent, The Surge. That sci-fi
Yeah.
Souls game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently,
Yeah. Yeah.
Microsoft signed a free game contract with those guys. So I was thinking maybe it's definitely possible that those guys are gonna come out on stage, announce whatever new IP that they're cooking right now. We didn't get
Yeah.
that either. I was hoping for a Battletoads. I didn't get no Battletoads. Instead of Conquer, we end up getting Lucky Tales. I'm like, what the hell is this shit, man? I'm not saying it's a dog shit game, but I was thinking, man, I remember the reaction. I was like, yo, is this Conquer?
Yeah.
Oh shit, yo, bruh.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, the game still looks good. It's a pretty looking game. It's a decent looking platformer. But
Well,
the
I'm
fans
gonna.
didn't ask for that. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
a lot of people don't know where that game come from, and I'm gonna tell you that is Lucky Palmer's game. That came for free with the Oculus Rift game. It's a virtual reality platformer game, and it's actually a beautiful, great game on the Oculus. Really, really good. As far as a 2D platformer,
No,
I'm
it's
not
3D. It's
interested in
3D,
it.
bro. It's a 3D platformer.
Okay, 3D. Yeah, okay, well, but you got to play the game. I think you got to play it in VR. I think that's the way it was meant to be played, at least through my experience and what I've played. Um, but any new game that's on the Xbox is a-okay with me, man. I'm just glad
They
that.
have, by the way, just to let you know, Kratos, they have locked that game
Uh-huh.
down as a Windows 10 Xbox One exclusive. Just want to let you know.
That's good. That's good. That's good for them. I hope it does well. I hope the Xbox community goes out and support this game.
Mm-hmm.
They did a talk. Now it's time for them to walk the walk.
Oh,
If
definitely.
Microsoft brings you games and you've been damage controlling for years, it's time for you to go and support your platform of choice.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah,
Man, I freaking got weirdos on the comment section again, man. Yo, Kratos, bruh.
it's okay,
Oh my
man.
goodness. No, I know.
It's
But yo, one thing I do want to say, one thing that I thought it was cool anyway. One thing I do
mhm,
think that was cool. They had Terry Crews, man. I mean, apparently
mhm.
he's gonna be a playable character on Crackdown. But yo,
Uh-huh.
they had him out there. You know what I'm saying, like doing his thing, and I thought it was really cool that they had
Yeah.
Terry Crews, promote Crackdown like the way he did. And then after that, I don't know what happened, man. I just ended up seeing like a minute and a half to 2 minute trailer with no HUD
Oh man.
gameplay, and
Oh
just
man.
it was just it wasn't really a good showing right there. But then you want to give a game like Shadow of War and Sea of Thieves 10 minutes each, and that's 20 minutes gone right there on just two games. And
Exactly.
during that
That's my
time,
point.
you could squeeze in at least 5 games during that 20-minute period. That's what you can do, but they decided to give Shadow of War 10 minutes. I was starting to fall asleep. I really
Yeah.
was, and it's not because it's a bad game. It's a really good looking game. Shadow of War looks awesome, but it's just you gave
Yeah.
much time, stage time for a game like that.
Yeah. It's here's the thing, okay? We've been waiting what 3 years for
Yeah.
Crackdown.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to show the power of the cloud. It was supposed to be this big. This was the defining game that was supposed to bring the Xbox One X out.
Yeah.
And these guys only show 1 minute trailer of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, hold on. You just spend 20 minutes on Sea of Thieves, a game that we've saw over and over for the last, 3 or 4 months. We've seen in-depth gameplay. We've seen, multiple streams. Okay, we get it. But the game that you were supposed to show, you only show 1 minute trailer. And then come to find out it's not going to have the cloud power and all the destructibility that we waited on for all these years. That, in reality, once that sets in, it started making my score of a solid C onto a D. All this stuff kind of adds up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I was tricked. All these years of waiting to this E3, waiting to
Yeah.
that E3. I've been waiting. When is the payoff gonna come?
Well, let me just tell you one thing. I'm just gonna address the guy in the comment section, Mystic7. This guy just said that, we just had Terry Crews on the Microsoft stage. Sony are too broke or whatever, and they don't have money for actors. Let me just correct you there for a second. They had William Dafoe in Beyond Two Souls, the guy that was Green Goblin in Spider-Man. They've had actors in their games. They have Norman Reedus in Death Stranding. That Sony have had actors in their games before. This is nothing new. So what if Microsoft had Iceman in Quantum Break and now they have Terry Crews, What's the big deal?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just wanted to just put that out there, because people are trying to poke fun and shit, trying to say Sony don't have the funds to have actors in their game.
Yeah,
This
okay.
this Kojima
Look,
project, yo, dude, this Kojima project that they're working on right now, Death Stranding,
yeah.
they're gonna have a lot more star power.
Look, we know Sony's going bankrupt. We know they're broke. We know they can't afford exclusives. We know they can't afford bangers. We know that's why they're giving you indie games. That's why they're giving you only third-party games, because they can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Sony's broke. They're in last place. They're being poked fun of. Oh well, who cares? At the end of the day, once reality sets in and you realize Sony sold over 60 million consoles, they're always winning MPDs. They have the biggest games. They got freaking Spider-Man, for crying out loud. They got God of War, for crying out loud. They got Days Gone. They got all these exclusives, not fake exclusives, not console launch exclusives, but exclusives.
Well, here's the
It
thing,
speaks
bro.
for
Like,
itself.
here's the thing. Sony got nothing but bangers upon bangers. They got games that hit 90 on Metacritic. 90 on Metacritic. Their games sell millions upon millions of copies. You know what I'm saying? Critically acclaimed. Sales are freaking off the charts. And what else can I... What is
VR.
They got the VR, they got the VR, they got the indies, they got the VRs, they got the first parties. They even have great second party support. And a lot of third parties, they just want to put their games on Sony's platform. That's what they want to do. Yeah. Every third party Japanese developer, they just want to put their games on Sony's console. That is, the PlayStation's always been like first choice.
Yeah.
Microsoft had that privilege at one point, but they no longer have it. And I'm not gonna blame Microsoft for that. I blame the fan base for that, who don't go out and support it. Why do you think Cliffy B chose Sony over Microsoft with Lawbreakers? It's pretty obvious. He's gonna go where the install base is. It is what it is. But enough about Microsoft now. Let's just get to the greatness. Let's just talk about Sony's E3 press conference, man. I want to hear, because you weren't really here for the live stream when we were doing our live reaction, because I was doing it with Cervantes and Big Jet Boss. So I know you had some stuff to do, you had some stuff to take care of and everything. But what did you think when you finally got to see it?
Sony's press conference, I thought they played it safe, but I also went in knowing we've been saying now for over a month on our predictions that Sony really didn't have to do much of anything. They could have just came out on stage, raised the curtain and closed the curtain and walked off, and they were still going to win because the last E3 was so hot, and then they followed it up months later in December with the PSX that showed us The Last of Us and the rest of the Juggernaut games that we didn't know about. So, it's kind of ingenuous for Sony to come out again and show the next round of games and exclusives that they have before they even gave the dates of the ones that they showed previously. So this show was to show more in depth on the games that they displayed previously, and they finally gave some release dates, and they finally gave some time frames on when we can expect these games. Now we know next year these games are coming out. We know that. What happened last time was Sony got criticized for releasing all of these games, showing all these games, and not releasing dates. Well, now they showed you the dates of the games, and they showed you more in-depth, real-time gameplay, and people are still criticizing. But it's all fair, man. It's all fair. I don't think Sony is crying or whining. They're just happy. I do like the pre-show that they put out there, and a lot of people who didn't check out for the pre-show, you need to check it out because they showed probably 50 games, whether it's in VR, whether it's indie titles, or whether it was some of the bigger games like the Gran Turismos. They showed all of that at the freaking pre-game show. So that was impressive. And let me get to the major show. They started off with the Uncharted. Now, here's the thing about it. The guy from Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, when people asked him, hey, where was, The Last of Us 2? He said, look, we're going to get there. But now is the Uncharted Lost Legacy. It's their time to shine. We can't go to the next project without showing you, without getting that one out the door. And that makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah.
That makes perfect sense. That's the stage to show your next game. Why would you show the next sequel of the game before you even release this game? That just wouldn't make any sense. Why would you show Madden 19 before you've released Madden 18? So yeah. I get that excuse. That made perfect sense. And I think since the Lost Legacy is going to launch in August?
Yeah,
it launches in a couple of months.
Correct.
By the time PSX gets here, that'll be the time to talk about the Last of Us 2. That's where we're gonna see that. And so I was okay with that excuse, and that made perfect sense. If not, the Last of Us was gonna drown out the Lost Legacy and stuff like that.
Yeah. Quick question, Kratos, man. Yeah. Like, how did you feel on Sony not announcing a new IP? Because remember, we've been hearing all this stuff about Sucker Punch's new IP. Miyazaki is going to show Bloodborne 2 or their new Aztec Souls game.
Well, okay.
How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it because we all know that Sony has a deep bench. Their bench of games is so deep. It's A-okay. Again, we know they have PlayStation Experience coming up. We know they have Tokyo Game Show coming up. We know they're going to Gamescom. This is what they do. This is not anything new. I don't understand why people are acting like this is the first year Sony's been doing this. Sony has been doing this every E3. They've been doing this every PlayStation Experience.
Yeah.
So, yes, they held back some stuff for PlayStation Experience. That's just common sense. This what I do like is they gave the VR its time to shine. They show major games on the PlayStation VR, and why, if you have a PlayStation VR, why you made a wise choice. They had the games that took advantage of the gun controller. They had games that took advantage of the cell phones. I mean, they had something for everybody. And Sony is the kings of having diversity uh, in their
Facts.
games and in their platform, and that has worked for them. It's worked for them, and it's going to continue to work. And it is something I think Microsoft needs to copy. There is nothing
Mm.
wrong with copying. Sony is the winner. They're the leaders. Why can't you just copy their formula? Give people games, not gimmicks. That's the motto. That should have been the motto of Microsoft.
I hear you, man.
But I think they had a great show. I think a lot of people felt like they were underwhelmed because they didn't blow them away with a bunch of other new games like they did at PlayStation Experience. But you got to realize they showed you like 20 games in December. They showed you another 20 games in earlier that year in June. They got to get release dates out for these games. They got to get some of these games out on the market. They just can't keep showing you a bunch of games that are in the pipeline. You know,
Oh
they have
yeah.
to bring some of this stuff out. So
Yeah.
we finally know that Gran Turismo is coming out this year. That's good because we've been waiting on that, right?
Yep.
We're finally going to get Knack 2 this year. That's a game that, you know, nobody thought they were going to make, and they decided to, guess what? It's for the fans. We didn't hit our stride the first time. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep trying at this thing until we get it right. And
Mm.
that's one thing I do admire about Sony. They don't mind, you know, failing at a game or not having it
Yeah.
sell multiple millions. They're not going to kill it off. They're just going to keep trying until they get it right.
Yeah, because they
Microsoft
gave
is
they
more
gave a
of
game like, you know, look, Gravity Rush One didn't sell that
yes,
great, but they still
yes,
funded. They still went ahead and funded Gravity Rush Two,
part two,
and I'll give them all credit for
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
that
Uncharted
shows.
One didn't do all that great. You know,
Yes,
they didn't really hit their sales that they really wanted, but they
yeah,
still funded Uncharted Two, and that ended up becoming one of the best games on PS3.
that's correct. Think about that. Think if they decided to pull a Microsoft and say, okay, well, we tried Uncharted 1. That didn't work. We're going to cancel the series. We're just going to cancel it. We won't make any more.
Mm-hmm.
Think if they did that. You wouldn't have Nathan Drake. You wouldn't have Joel and Ellie. You wouldn't have none of that. They would have gave up on Naughty Dog. Think about that.
Yeah,
This
absolutely,
is
man.
why this is why I think Microsoft needs to stop. They need to invest, and they need to give these projects multiple iterations to find its footing. Quantum Break could have been a great series, but they gave up on it because the first game didn't sell, 5 million copies. They gave up on all of this stuff. They only invest and pump out the Halos, the Gears, and the Forza because those are the only games that will give them a consistent 2 to 3 million copies sold.
Okay, so what did you think of the God of War, the Days Gone, and the Spider-Man showing? Did you think that they had a really strong
Oh
showing on all three
man,
games?
that stuff was so immaculate. It was better than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh yeah.
You know, I knew it was gonna be a banger. I knew it was gonna be a big hit, but it's just something about the class that PlayStation can give you, graphics and class and talent that you just can't find anywhere else. Whether it's on
Yeah.
PC, whether it's on Nintendo, or whether it's on anything, it's the craftsmanship of the games and the quality. They said God of War was displayed on an original PlayStation 4. Let that sink in, guys. Let that sink in. That game looks
So
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 freaking beautiful
so do you
on
feel like
1.86
do
teraflops.
you feel like what they brought was like Louis Vuitton, and what Microsoft brought was like Polo?
Yes. I think To tell you the truth, since Microsoft only brought third party to the table, the stuff did look good, but again, it's on everybody's platform, so it's going to look good on the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's going to look good on the regular PlayStation. It is what it is. So you don't get brownie points for something that you know everybody has. It's kind of like if you get a trophy in a video game, you don't go bragging over the bronze trophy. It's something that everybody has. It says 99% of the
Yeah,
people get it.
yeah. You want to talk
But
about the
you brag.
platinums?
You need to talk about the platinums. The stuff that it took you, hours and hours and days and months to get. That's the stuff you want to brag about. So Sony shows the platinums and Nintendo shows,
Yeah.
Microsoft shows the bronze.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you don't want to brag about a hooker on the street that you fucked.
Yeah.
You want to brag
Yeah.
about a classy woman that you pulled from a business party or something like that.
Yeah, you want to talk about the Halle Berrys and the Jennifer Lopez and
The Beyonces
you know,
and that,
the
like Queen Bee.
Beyoncés. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and the Rihannas and stuff like that. That's what you
yeah.
want to brag about.
You don't want to talk about the chick that's in your accounting department at work. I mean, nobody cares about Debbie from the copy machine. Nobody cares about that.
Debbie from the copy machine. bruh.
That's
I
that's
hear
just,
you, man.
that's just the facts. It's it's just really crazy, man, that Sony has the talent and they have the studios that can give them the type of quality like Days Gone, not Ghost Recon, Days Gone, God of War, Detroit Becomes Human. Everything that they showed, Spider-Man. Did you see that? Did you see
Bruh.
that gameplay? Did you see those graphics?
Bruh.
Did you see the way Spider-Man twisted and turned? The animation, the craft? It's like Sony has a seal of approval like Nintendo has that says this game guarantees to knock your socks off. If not, we will give you a refund. That's the kind of quality that Sony gives you. Microsoft has nothing like that. Quantum
Oh,
Break,
definitely.
they didn't even give you the gun reload animation properly. If you look on Quantum Break, the guy he was reloading the gun, he didn't even have any clips. It didn't show the
You know what it
quality.
is? I think maybe Microsoft cut the budget on that game a little bit because they were taking too long to make it. So they thought, fuck it, just give it the way it is. We ship it out, and that's what happened. Maybe that's the case.
But it does show the difference, the night and day difference of what Sony requires of its studios and its developers that Microsoft doesn't require.
I hear you. Can I chime in and give my input on?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. Let me hear your thoughts, man.
Yo, bro, as soon as I watched the pre-show and everything, and I felt like, they're already announcing games. They're already talking about games already. They were talking about some indies. They were talking about VR, and they were talking about Ni no Kuni 2, GT Sports. I kind of wish they showed GT Sports at the actual conference, but I understand the game's been on beta. There's been many delays, so I get that. But when the show started, look, at the end of the day, I love music. I love live music. I go to concerts. I appreciate entertainment. Last year, Sony had an orchestra for God of War, which I think, okay, it's cool or whatever, but I felt like it was just taking away the minutes. Like by then, you could already start showing the game, like they did with PS6. Like straight away, they showed a game. Like they showed the Uncharted game with Chloe immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking or whatever, but I guess it's cool. It adds diversity to their show. You had Indian music, and I know Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. The majority of that is going to be based over there in India, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So they wanted to bring that whole Indian theme, and that's cool. Whatever, Uncharted looked great. It's going to take advantage of the Pro. Chloe, when I saw her, I was like, damn, like, she still has that ass, yo. She's got that ass. Uh,
Exactly.
I know a lot of Xbox dudes who are watching that were probably thirsty as hell, man. But yo, you know, that's neither here or there. But
Yeah.
yeah, the game looks great. I cannot wait. It's a game that they're showing that's gonna launch this year. It's gonna launch in
Mm,
August
mm,
21st, I believe.
yeah.
And then they moved on to the next game, the next banger, right? Which was Days Gone. My goodness, bro! Like
Mm.
that game had an
Oh my
incredible
God,
showing, man. The graphics on
man.
that game. See, I thought they were using their own proprietary engine, but they're using
Hmm.
Unreal Engine 4. Now,
Holy
now State
shit,
of
for
Decay
real?
2, State of Decay 2 is using that very same engine, Unreal Engine 4. But you see the
You
night and day
lying,
difference
Wolf.
right
You
there,
lying.
right? It's night
You
and
lying,
day.
bruh. You
I
lying. That game.
bullshit you not. I bullshit you not.
Jeez, that game is night and day, man. Now, keep in mind, I'm gonna get State of Decay because I enjoy State of Decay 1. But the problem was the gameplay of State of Decay 1 was really good. It was really intriguing. It's just the graphics was ugly as shit. The graphics on State of Decay 2 looks better. It looks cleaner, but it's using the same animations as part one. I
Mm,
don't know if you guys seen how the guys walk, but they walk like they're robots.
mm.
The animation is just like it was on the 360. I mean,
Yo, the
it,
animations on State of Decay 2. Now, I just don't want to sound like I'm bashing because I'm trying to be positive, right?
no,
The
it's a fact
animations,
though.
yeah, these are facts, but the animations didn't look that good. It didn't really have a great showing. The
Hmm.
environments look okay, but like I said before, night and day difference if you compare that to Days Gone. Now, going back to Days
Hmm.
Gone and going back on topic, the game looks
Hmm.
absolutely incredible. Like the rendering is absolutely insane. The character models look great. The animation, my god. And
Yeah,
for a second, I thought, oh man, like they're making the gameplay so damn good. And the melee combat was good. It has some stealth in it as well, bro. Like the attention to detail, like you saw the draw distance and everything. It was just so lush, so beautiful. Like you see the trees, the grass. You could see like the puddles. Man, you should see like it had shiny mud. I
yeah,
wanted to touch the
yeah,
mud, man. That's how good the mud actually looked. And you see the moisture on the rocks and everything, man. Like, I'm like, yo, bruh. It looks like this
yeah.
game is running on some 100 teraflop machine. That's the way I felt. I'm like, bruh, like it ain't about the teraflops. It's not about the power. It's down to the crafting. It's down to the talent that you have in your first party
Yeah.
studios. If you have the talent, you could make a masterpiece.
You're
The
right, Wolf.
machine
Check
is
this
not gonna
out.
machine is not gonna make you a beautiful game. It's the developer. Facts.
Yeah, here's the thing. God
Mm,
of War was shown running on the vanilla PlayStation 4.
mm.
That was only 1.86 teraflops. That game outdid anything that Microsoft showed that was actually running on the Xbox One X. And I think most of us can agree that God of War was such a beast in such beautiful textures and beautiful artistry and beautiful work. And if that game looks like that on the shown on the PlayStation 4, imagine how it's going to look on the Pro. But that just
God.
shows you it doesn't matter how many teraflops you have. It matters about the developers and the talent that they put into their craft. You
Facts.
can't buy that. That's something you just can't buy. It'll take Microsoft 10 years to find a studio with that talent. Sony
Hmm.
owns all the top talent in the industry. They just got Kojima.
Facts. They just
That's
got
just, I
Kojima.
mean, that
That's
just
scary,
shows
bruh.
you
That's scary.
exactly. So imagine once PlayStation Experience come and they show they show some more of The Last of Us and Death Stranding. That in itself shows you that Sony is in a league of their own.
Most definitely,
It's not
man.
about it's not about teraflops. It's about what you get,
It's
you
about the
know.
art, man. It's
it's
about the
about the art, man. It's
yeah,
about the talent.
definitely. But yo, like, going back, Days Gone looked absolutely incredible, and then they showed God of War, like you just mentioned. I don't really have to say more. You've really covered everything in regards to that. But the only thing I can add is that it's a day one buy for me. They've really changed everything. It looked better than last year. It had a better showing this year than it had last year. Last year
Oh
we were
yeah,
like, oh shit, God of War, Kratos, oh shit, he's got a beard. And then this year they just took it to a whole different level, and
exactly.
we know for a fact they're not going to show it for the third year because it's going to come out early 2018. So my guess is that it's going to come out in March. Most God of War games have dropped, in March. So I don't think this is going to be any different. I don't think this will
Yeah.
be any different. So yeah, definitely I could see a March release for that. Detroit Become Human. My goodness, it looked absolutely incredible. I was thinking that it'll probably look like the way it did before from the last time we saw it, right? But man,
Yeah.
it looks freaking insane. Like you could
Man.
see like how they changed the gameplay and how it's gonna play out and the decisions that you make. This is a full AAA game, and like I said, it's another first party studio game.
Yeah.
Like they've been showing nothing but like first party studio games, like banger after banger after banger. I was kind of bummed out that I didn't get a release date or a release year for Days Gone and Detroit Become Human, but everything else we had release dates on.
Yeah.
They showed some third party stuff like Monster Hunter World.
Hmm.
Look absolutely crazy. Cannot wait for that. I guess Sony got the marketing deal for that. Yes, it's a multi-plat. It's also going to be on the Xbox, and I'm genuinely happy that Xbox guys are going to get to play a game like Monster Hunter on their platform. That is great. I
Yeah.
guess this is an L for Nintendo, although they're getting their own Monster Hunter XX. But this is a AAA, graphically intensive, beautiful looking game, and it's it's gonna have co-op. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah. Yeah.
So it's gonna have online co-op, and we're gonna have a blast playing that game. I know you and I we're both gonna get in on that game. We're gonna have a good time.
Definitely.
Definitely. I'm all for a Monster Hunter game, and I guess look, Xbox guys who were bummed out about Scalebound, and I was bummed out too. This could be your
Yeah.
replacement for the cancellation of Scalebound. Who knows? Maybe Phil spoke to Capcom and said, "Look, put this on my platform too." Just
Yeah.
like the Dragon Ball and just like the Code Vein. He is trying, and I do give him credit. He knows himself that he needs to do a little bit more work in Japan to get more of these games over to his platform. But you'll see them. They'll all come. They're all gonna come. As far
Yeah.
as exclusive, I don't know. Maybe he may try and lock one or two games down in the near future. But as the way things stand right now, I don't know. You know, but he's trying. But back on topic. The Monster Hunter game looked great. The Call
Hmm.
of Duty, it's just Call of Duty, just like every other year, right? They had
Yeah.
to show that. They have a marketing deal for that with Activision. They showed Destiny. They have a marketing deal with that. They had to show VR games as well, because they have to show that they're still supporting it, which is cool. I'm glad that they showed a handful of VR games that hey those that do have VR, because there's over 1 million people out there that use VR, right? Over 1 million sold, which was announced recently. So for those million people out there, you still have content coming your way, which is pretty cool. So it shows that they haven't given up on VR. They're still gonna bring out games. They're still gonna try. Whether it's on first party or third party or indie devs, the support is still there.
Yeah.
Then after that, I think they did show. They carried on showing a few more bangers. Shadow of the Colossus was the surprise announcement. It looks completely beautiful, man. They've redone everything from the ground up
Oh.
for the PlayStation
Yeah.
4 and for the Pro.
N-
They're not using the same. They're not using the same assets or the same. It's not just an upres. See, people seem to think that it's just upres. No, this is made from the ground up. They tweak the
Yeah.
controls. They improve the camera on that game, and it's not going to be the way you remember it. It's going to feel like a completely new game. It's going to feel like a next gen game.
Okay,
And
so let me ask you this: it's not a remaster.
it's a remake.
It's not a. It's a reboot.
No, it's a remake from the ground up. Like
Okay.
what like what
Okay.
Square do in Final Fantasy VII remake. They're
Okay. Okay. Okay.
completely
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
rebuilding that game, and
Okay.
it's
I
from
just want to.
Bluepoint. It's from Bluepoint, and I don't know. I got a sneaky feeling that Sony may buy Bluepoint in the future, man. Because Bluepoint have done games for Sony. They've done the Gravity Rush remaster,
Hmm.
the Vita game all the way. They actually ported that game to the PlayStation 4, and it looked beautiful, 1080p 60 with all the bells and
Mm.
whistles. They also done the Nathan Drake collection, as I remember, and
Mm.
I think they're gonna do more things like that, like work on some classic games. And it wouldn't surprise me if Sony end up acquiring the studio and just get those guys to keep, porting over classics,
Hmm.
remastering or remaking some of these classics. It'll definitely be cool. So yeah,
Definitely.
Shadow of the Colossus, man. I'm definitely gonna buy that, man. It's just like the PlayStation's very own Zelda in a way. You know what I'm saying? That's how good that
Yeah.
game was back in the PS2 era. So could you just imagine that in 4K? You know,
Exactly.
definitely looking forward to that. But then after the Destinies and everything like that, they closed the show pretty strong, man. And I love the fact that Sean Layden didn't really talk too much. He was like he came like second or third game in, saying some
Hmm.
stuff, saying that hey, it's all about the games. And I know he was trying to throw subliminals towards Microsoft. But
Mm.
competition is good. I don't mind the odd banter here and there. Because it's true. It's all about the games. Those are just
Yeah.
the facts. So yeah, and he was telling people that you're gonna see nothing but games, and let the show begin, and he just let it
Yeah.
run. Banger after banger after banger. You just kept seeing him, and then
Yeah.
towards the end, he said, "Yo, this is a true exclusive." I
Mm.
love the way he said
True exclusive.
true exclusive. So like you and I both know, and every hardcore dude out there, that true exclusive holds more weight than true 4K. Those are the motherfucking
Other
facts.
facts.
But yo, as soon as they showed Spider-Man though, man, I was thinking, yo, bruh, like I thought all that was CG, but then the way it went from like a cutscene and the way it transitioned into gameplay, I was like, oh shit, this is gameplay, yo. And I just flipped out. Like you could check out my live reaction on the Greatness Podcast channel. I may re-upload that onto this channel and just because I know the stream that we did, it was kind of laggy. Like the gameplay was laggy, so I could just redo that with the audio and mix it in. So I may re-upload that again. But man, like it blew me away, man. It really freaking blew me away. Like the rendering looked absolutely insane. Like you could see like the suit looks so damn good. So you see the
Definitely.
light, you see the lighting and everything, the light reflecting on the suit, and like you can see the buildings and everything. You can see all the destruction going on. Absolutely incredible looking, and the combat was so damn good. Like it just, I'm sorry though, man. This game destroyed Batman Arkham. Now all the Batman games, like this game, put all of that to shame. And those Batman
Yeah.
games are no slouch, by the way. They're all critically acclaimed, 90 plus on Metacritic. But this game right here, from what I saw, man, completely destroyed it, man. Like the combat looks so good, the animations are freaking incredible, and you know it's already been confirmed. Insomniac have confirmed on a live stream that, and plus I think there was like a little interview that they had that this game is going to be
Hmm.
full 4K, 30 frames per second. This is going to be that game that takes full advantage of the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it's going to be open world. You can also free roam and everything like that. I could tell
Exactly.
a lot of people on other consoles were really salty about it. They felt really hurt about seeing that. You know,
Yeah.
it felt like a movie at the same time. It was just so freaking incredible, man. That's why it's definitely a true exclusive. And Sony made the right decision choosing Insomniac to make this game, because Insomniac make
To make
great
that
games.
game. Yeah,
I
definitely.
heard a few weirdos out there, a few exponents out there. I don't want to mention no names. We're trying to downplay Spider-Man, and these are the same weirdos out there that were like hyping up Sunset Overdrive. Oh, Sunset is the best game. Nah, 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 nah. And you know what? Sunset Overdrive is a great game. But then again,
Yeah,
you're bad mouthing that same developer who made freaking Spider-Man. Like, make up your mind, yo. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? Like, you guys are freaking weirdos, man.
Yep.
But it is what it is, man. Well, one second, man. Yo, I want to give a big shout out to Remnant of Despair, man. That's my dude. Great dude. He hangs out with me. His name is Wrong Path as well. Is known as that. Just want to send a
Hmm.
special shout out to him, man. Like, dude, he's on a very high trophy level too. He ain't no weirdo. He ain't no fraud. This dude freaking games. Period. And that's what it's all about, though. You know what I'm saying? Real recognizes real, man. And that's a motherfucking fact. But yo, going back to the conference, man, they ended it really, really strong with Spider-Man, and it's got a 2018 release date, which I'm pretty relieved by. I was hoping that would drop this year, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, it didn't. But who cares at the end of the day? It's not like Sony is short-handed anyway when it comes down to exclusives and bangers, because they got,
Yeah.
you know, they have a whole lot of them right now. Do you know the exclusives that they have between now and the end of the year? Bro, they got Crash coming. They have Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Yakuza
Mm.
Kiwami, Knack 2,
Mm.
Gran Turismo
Mm.
Sport, Nino Kuni
Mm.
2,
Mm.
Lawbreakers, Horizon
Mm.
Zero Dawn DLC. They got
Mm.
Hellblade and a bunch of
Oh,
VR games. So, bruh, like, they
jeez.
have an insane holiday lineup. They
Oh
really
well,
do.
and that doesn't include the first half of the year that when they brought the bangers, all the freaking games that came out so far. I mean, this year was the year of Sony, of their software. This was the defining year that showed you, hey guys, we're gonna kill you and overload your wallets the first half of the year, and then the second half of the year we're gonna take you out with the biggest bangers you can have, and prepare for January for the God of War. That's gonna set off another precedent, and it's gonna keep going in 2018.
Oh,
But
definitely, man.
it's a smart deal because if you think about it, we've been saying this for years. Microsoft has prided themselves with the whole holiday lineup, only releasing games in the holiday time
But if you're,
around the same.
sorry to cut
Uh
you off
huh.
though. If you're so proud about releasing games during the holiday season, then why do you just have one indies and just two games for the holiday season? You just got Cuphead, Crackdown, and Forza. That's all you have.
Yeah, Wolf, but they're giving you 6 teraflops. So those games and 6 teraflops should be enough to make up for the rest of the year.
But look, I just named all these games Sony are gonna give for the rest of the damn year, right? And all of them are absolute freaking bangers.
Yeah.
Why? Look, Microsoft are launching a new console, man. They gotta try. They gotta try and compete. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't know. Like, they're trying to release Crackdown, like right next to Call of Duty and Star Wars Battlefront. Like, yo, you're throwing it in with the sharks. Like I said before, man, that's suicide right there, yo.
Wolf, I still think they're hiding something with Crackdown, man. They're hiding something. They did not want to show that game. That game should have took, you know, at least 15 minutes of their time showing you all you can do in that game and the reason you should buy it. And they didn't. They skimmed past that shit, and everybody was like, "Wait, wait, wait, wait. Like what happened?"
Yeah, I want to see some shit, yo.
I
Where's the
want to, they
destruction and
had
everything, man? I thought you're gonna level the city and shit. Like, what happened there, yo?
look. Terry Crews spent more time yelling at the on the stage than they did showing the game and what it could do. It was only trailer.
I think the
It was
best
only a
thing about that
trailer.
Crackdown presentation was Terry Crews. I ain't gonna lie,
Exactly.
yo.
Exactly.
But no, I'm not
But
saying it looks. I'm not saying the game looks that bad. You know what I'm saying? It does look okay, although it's cell shaded, and I don't have a problem with cell shaded. But
Yeah.
you need to like bring out a game that tells us that, hey, this is how games look on the Scorpio, and this is the reason you go out and buy a freaking Xbox One X. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? They needed to show that one game and that one new IP. Now, well, everything Sony showed on their E3 stage, man, like even showing two of those is a reason for me to go out and buy a PlayStation 4 or Pro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like their first party showing was so damn strong. Like you could really tell, like they're really strong. And yo, you like you mentioned before, Sony have an insane bench when it comes down to the game. Like you check out their fucking bench, you still see bangers on their freaking bench. It is what it
Exactly.
is, man. It's like a world class team with a crazy ass fucking bench. Like it's like Real Madrid or Barcelona. Like you
Yeah.
have their first team, my God, like they'll just pull out all the stops. But then even when you look at their bench, you're like, man, that shit is world class too.
Yeah.
That's what it is with Sony and their freaking bangers. Same thing, man. Their bench is really, really strong right now. And it's so damn scary that they actually pull back some of their announcements. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
pulled it back. And this one thing I did want to say, and we know we're gonna talk about Nintendo's E3 quickly. Then we will get to that other
Hmm.
topic. But first of all, man, I just wanted to know your thoughts on the Nintendo E3 stream. I wouldn't really call it a press conference. It was a stream.
Well, I tell you what, I was pleasantly surprised. I was shocked.
Mm.
Everybody know that, Nintendo Treehouse thing, you think of it, you roll your eyes. You're like, oh shit, here we go again with this crap. These guys brought freaking exclusives after exclusives after exclusives. Um, Now, mind you, maybe that's because all they have is exclusives. But from what I saw, they had a big, diverse lineup. They had the FIFA for the sports fans. They had, they started. I mean, we already know everybody and their mom is waiting for Mario Galaxy. That's
Mm.
without a doubt. We know that's going to be there. But then they surprised us with the Mario and the Rabbits, their combination game. And then freaking Metroid 4. I mean, oh my god. That brought some tears to people's eyes.
Mm.
And then they showed off the Xenoblade
Chronicles 2.
Chronicles X.
No, it was 2.
It was 2? I thought I
Yeah.
thought it was X.
That
Okay.
was on the Wii U.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, they showed that game. Then they turn around and show the freaking Kirby. Are you kidding me? A Kirby? Dude, that's my
Kirby!
shit. Kirby is my shit. I got it on the 3DS. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Yo, I would never knock Kirby. Kirby's a banger. Period.
Dude, yeah, trust me, man. Kirby, Zelda, I mean, all that stuff is obviously
It's a
all
banger
of
for
it's
the
in
kids
this.
out there. You know what I'm saying? I know grown
Yeah,
adults play that shit too when they
yeah.
pass
I'll
time.
tell you what, man. There's again, I got a 3DS, I got a Wii U, I got the Switch. I mean, it is what it is. It's one of those. Nintendo is one of those companies that you can talk all the shit you want about them, that they don't have this, they don't have that. But as soon as these motherfuckers bring out a Metroid or a Kirby, you act like a little schoolgirl. And they're the only ones that can make you feel that way, man. It's just something about Nintendo. They bring you back to that childhood memory that you had when you was a child, that's satisfied when you didn't have the big games and the big consoles. You had your Game Boy, or you had your Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and they just provide those games that are timeless. And and they had just more and more games they kept dropping. um oh my god, I can't believe all the games that they dropped, totally unexpected. I thought they were going to come out, show Mario Odyssey, and just kind of leave it there, and they did the opposite. And if you ask me for expectation, I think they won E3. I will be willing to concede. E3 to them because they shocked me. At least with Sony, the only shocking game that I didn't see before, I didn't know they were coming out with, was the Shadow of Colossus.
I hear you,
That
bro.
there, besides the VR games like the SOCOM Bravo team and stuff like that. But Nintendo surprised me, man, and I am glad I went with the Switch,
Mm.
and I'm glad I play it. We have Splatoon coming out next month. We have, in a couple of days, we have ARMS.
Yeah.
I mean, we have banger after banger this year for Nintendo, and then they're gonna kill it. They are just gonna kill it this year.
Oh yeah, definitely. What I can say about Nintendo, I'm gonna go through Nintendo's one quickly myself, man. They
Hmm.
had some, look, I want to talk about their lineup first of all, right? Their lineup is really damn impressive. You got Arms coming, next week. You got Splatoon in July. You got that new Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. You got that coming in August. The one that's the crossover with the Mario and the Rabbids by Ubisoft. You also got the Pokken Tournament DX. Then you got the
Hmm.
Mario Odyssey in October, Fire Emblem in November, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in December. Bruh, they got an exclusive every freaking month for the rest of the year. Let that sink in. And all of
Exactly.
these games are nothing but bangers, yo. And as far as like new announcements and like surprises and stuff, they surprised me, man. Especially with that Metroid Prime 4. I know Retro Studio are not going to make it, but I'm pretty sure, like, I trust Nintendo. I'm sure they're going to get a world class studio, with some world class developers to work on that game, you know? I'm pretty
Exactly.
sure they're going to do that because this is their IP, and, Nintendo IPs are gold, you know what I'm saying? And Nintendo would never do anything to
To jeopardize that.
jeopardize it. Exactly. They're not going to jeopardize it by giving it to another developer with no credibility. You know what I'm saying? With no
Yeah.
credentials. But as far as like the Pokemon goes, like yeah, the guy was talking about one of the developers were talking about Pokemon Tournament, but at the same time, he said they're working on a new Pokemon RPG. I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure we're gonna hear more about it in the near future. Maybe at one of the directs, or maybe next year's E3 or whatever. So I'm looking forward to this new Pokemon RPG. They announced Kirby, that new Yoshi
Hmm.
game that looked really damn
Uh,
good. So like I'm
Dude,
excited over
I
that Yoshi
forgot
game.
about that. I forgot about that. That's right, man.
Exactly, yo.
Jeez. I'll tell
So
you what, guys. You need to go out and buy you a Switch today, if you can find that thing.
yeah, definitely, I agree with you. And Yoshi's game, and then that Mario plus Rabbits, Kingdom Battle. That was another game. So they had surprises. You know what I'm saying? They've had more
Yeah.
surprises than Microsoft and Sony, to be perfectly honest. But just
Hmm.
because you have more surprises doesn't mean that you necessarily had a better show. I want to say that I've actually gave it a 9 out of 10, just like Sony. So it's on par with Sony, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Their show was
Okay.
on
Okay.
par. Now, if you're talking about quality of games, I would have to give that
Yeah.
to Sony, but it gets that 9 score based on the fact that it had surprises. And they also
I
got
get it. Yeah.
expansions on the Zelda Breath of the Wild. They announced 2 expansions. They gave dates
Yeah.
for it as well. So you got one expansion coming real soon, and then you have another one. I believe it's in November sometime. So they're
Hmm.
gonna continue supporting Zelda, which is pretty damn cool. But
That's
yeah,
what's up.
man, definitely Nintendo had a really strong showing, especially with their first party games, man. That's what it's about, man. Look, if you can't have third party on board, man, like I said, if you can't get the job done by those guys, then you just got to do the
Do
job
it
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah, and the
Exactly.
first party speaks for itself, man.
Yeah.
Period.
It's I'm gonna say this real quick.
Mm.
It's funny how Microsoft has the opposite problem of Nintendo. Have you noticed that? Uh, Microsoft has no exclusives. It has no first party games or very little.
Little
And
to none, yeah.
Nintendo has yes, Nintendo has nothing but exclusives and first party titles and no third party titles. So it's just funny how those two have the opposite problem. And Sony sits right in the middle with exclusives, first party, and obviously they have all the third
They
party.
got the
So
best of both worlds, man.
yeah,
They got
yeah,
both.
that's
They got
just
both first party, third party, and second party, man. Like, they keep their partners real happy too at the same time.
you got to
And you
take care
got
of them.
you got developers knocking on your doors saying that, hey, we want to partner with you. Blah 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 blah. They got indies. They have indie developers knocking on their doors saying that, hey, we want to put our game on your platform. You had guys like Cliffy B knocking at their door. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Those are just the facts, man. But yo, let's talk about one other thing though, man. Yo, Sean Layden, he was firing shots. You know what I'm saying? He was talking
Uh-huh.
about, it's all about the games. Uh, you know, true exclusives. These are the sort of terms that I would use if I was him too. Because if you're gonna have the competition, touting power 24/7, 4K, 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 true 4K, this 4K, that 4K, then you're gonna have to counter. It is what it is, and
That's true.
it's not that he's trying to cause any flame wars. It's just business. You got to do what you got to do to sell your product out there. That's how you sell hardware, man. Is by
Yeah.
showing compelling software. And I like the fact that he did that. Talking about it's all about the games,
Yeah.
and what we're gonna show right here is a true exclusive. And I'm pretty sure that
That hit
Microsoft,
home.
yeah, that probably really hit home, man. It must have made him feel a certain way, man. Definitely. But what do you think about that? And then you also had like, we might as well talk about it since we're on topic. Phil Spencer and his comment over the PlayStation 4 Pro. I want to hear your input on this, man.
Uh, well, I'll tell you what, Sean Layden, man, he was right. And nobody can argue with him. They are the only ones that have, true exclusives, games that you can't get anywhere else. Not on PC, not on Nintendo's platform, not on, freaking iTunes, TVs, Microsoft product. You can't get them anywhere. If you want to play Spider-Man, you're gonna have to come through that one door, and that door is Sony's PlayStation. It is what it is. And if you want to play Uncharted, if you want to play a Days Gone, a God of War, you're gonna have to play it on the Ultimate Beast, and that is the PlayStation 4. And he made that distinction. And he didn't mince any words because he sees what's going on the Microsoft side. He see those guys lying and misleading their customers and people, with all of these marketing terms like console, launch exclusive, and all of these made up terms that we've never heard before. If there's one thing Microsoft is good at, and that is
Changing the narrative, man.
misleading. That's changing the narrative and misleading its customers. First, it started with the whole they wanted to stop talking about sales, so then they started talking about user engagement, and then so on and so on. Then they started coming up with the dynamic resolution stuff, and then from there it just ran amok.
Well, yeah,
So
they
now
want
you
to
look,
make the user engagement thing sound real good, right? That this many
yeah,
zombies are being killed in Dead Rising, 20 million zombies have been killed. Yeah, we've had 5 million laps in Forza this week. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
exactly,
who gives a shit?
exactly. Who gives a
We've
shit?
had
It
two
is,
million. We've had 2 million chainsaw kills in Gears of War. Like, bruh, like,
yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Well, and it's funny because the fanboys run with that. They touted and they tweeted out, Microsoft is the kings. They had 10,000 or 10 million, people, you know, saw this video or just all kind of random weird things that nobody care about.
I just want to address Mystic, by the way. He said Sony misleads their fans or misleads everybody. You know what? Like, Sony haven't really sugarcoated anything. They don't sugarcoat shit. If something's a
But
timed exclusive, just like what they did with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, they clearly stated first on PlayStation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like they make it obvious it's a timed exclusive. Even with
Yeah.
like the Call of Duty content or the Destiny content, like they don't sugarcoat anything, man. I don't even know
Yeah.
what this guy is talking
Well,
about.
look, they're the leaders, so they don't have to. When you're the leader, you don't have to do anything. You just keep leading. That's what
Lead the
leaders
way.
do. You don't have to lie. You don't have to cheat. And to put this in another term, the the Golden State Warriors are the NBA champions. Okay,
Yeah.
make no mistake about it. They are the champions. They're not, they're not gonna. You're not gonna have, you should have the Cleveland Cavaliers come out and say, "We sold $2 million in tickets on the launch day, on the on the finals day of this game." Nobody cares about that. The only thing people care about is who's the leader and when the next game is coming out. That's just it. That's all. There's like, stop spinning, Microsoft. Stop it. It's embarrassing. As a consumer, as a gamer, as a guy that owns and purchase and invests in your platform, stop it. It's embarrassing.
I hear you, bro,
Why
man.
can't you just be modest and say, let's, look, just game on whatever platform you want to game on. Have fun. Here are games, whether they're third party or first party. Just be truthful with people. You will get more respect than you coming out with your lying, and then you're getting caught in your lies. You're getting caught in all of your lies. You start with these marketing terms such as, and Wolf. I hope I can talk about this now. But the whole true 4K thing.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, man. Go
Uh,
ahead. We were going to talk about Phil Spencer's comment on the PlayStation 4 Pro before we head to the 4K thing. But if you want to go
okay,
to the
well
4K, you could go.
no, let's
No,
do
because
that.
the topic was based on both Sean Layden and Phil Spencer,
Mhm.
firing shots towards one another.
Yeah.
But like, what did you
Well,
think of the whole Phil Spencer thing on his comment on the PlayStation 4 Pro? Basically, he said that it's not really competing with the Xbox One X. It's competing with the Xbox One S. The one with 1.3 teraflops.
yeah. This guy here. It's again. It's embarrassing, and I'm just pleading out to the guy. Stop it. It's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. Let's not even go with the sales. I'm not even going to pull up the sales argument, but
Yeah.
just the mere fact that you have to make that distinction. You have to try to say that the winning platform is not competing against our top of the line system. It's competing against our old one. Get the hell out of here, man. Get out of here. You're in no position to tell anybody who they're competing with. The facts have spoken. The fans have spoken. Whether you're a fanboy, whether you're neutral, whatever, you have to face the fact. The people have spoken, and they spoke with their wallets. They chose the PlayStation over the Xbox One. There's no media bias about that. There is no argument. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is what it is. And you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. The facts are the facts. This just
Alternative
shows
facts.
more. Yes, this just shows that there's more desperation from the Microsoft side of things, and I wish they would stop it. It is embarrassing.
Yeah. I hear what you're
It
saying,
is
man. You
embarrassing.
know what? Like, as far as like, my thought on the whole thing, uh, I thought like people were trolling, when they were
Hmm.
telling me that this is what he said. And they started sending me links, and it was a link from an unknown website. I'm like, I don't know this website, and I don't know whether to take it as, credible. But then
Yeah.
I see GameSpot, and then I see IGN, and I think Eurogamer, and I think Polygon. They wrote the same article with the same statement. And,
Hmm.
yo, Phil's my boy at the end of the day, man. Shout out to him. I have nothing but respect for him. But I do disagree with that statement, though. Well, that's one thing I would do, because I do believe that the Xbox One S is competing with the PlayStation 4 Slim, and the PlayStation 4 Pro is going to be competing with the Xbox One X. It's just
And
common sense,
those
you
are the
know, because
facts.
that is more of a high end machine compared to the Slim. The
Yeah,
Pro is more high end, and it was made for a certain gamer, like the Pacific. It was made for the PlayStation enthusiasts that like, you know, high graphical fidelity in their games, that they want, you know, those that want 4K, high resolution, the options to change the graphical settings, the frame rate, and everything like that. Those who have a
yeah,
4K TV, that's what the PlayStation 4 Pro was made for. It was those who have 4K TVs. And the same thing with the Xbox One X. It was made
yeah.
for the Xbox enthusiasts. So I wouldn't agree with that statement, and it was a really bad comparison to make at the end of the day, because it's apples and oranges, man. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I think that was Wolf. I think that was a dig at Sony because I don't know if you remember, but a while back Sony had already said that Microsoft is not their competition. They're too far ahead. They've already won this. Their competition that they saw was the PC market. Those are the people they're trying to get. They're trying to keep people in the console market from going to the PC.
Now,
That's why they dropped the Pro
my
and
my
gave
que-
them a 4K option.
see, my question to you, Kratos, man, do you think they should have
Uh
just
huh.
start? Well, obviously Nintendo have began the ninth gen, so we're already on the ninth generation because the Switch is their ninth generation offering, right? Do you
Uh
think
huh.
you know, Microsoft should have done the same thing? Just follow suit, just start a completely new generation,
Um.
wipe the slate
Yes, and
clean, wipe the slate clean. Don't call it an Xbox One anything. Just call it an Xbox something else completely, and just start the ninth gen, and
yeah.
that's it. Like that way, you cannot compare your console, or people cannot compare that console to a previous gen console that has a big install base. They could start fresh, start a new generation completely, and that's how, you know, people can jump on board. They'll be like, oh, okay, this is next generation. Oh, that's what's up, man. Do you think that's what they should have done?
Um. I don't think so, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, these consoles are a big investment. And if you have one failed console and you end that console within 3 years, that is, 3 to 4 years, that's definitely a failure. And so once you have a failure in your hands, then you show the fan base that their investment into your ecosystem was for nothing. So they don't have confidence in you. So you can't bring out a new console if they don't have any confidence in you. So bringing out a next generation, just scrapping it after 3 years and starting over, that would have been a bad idea because that doesn't guarantee you that that one's going to be any better. And they've and I say this not Scorpio, but Xbox X, One X. It's not a next gen, but it's not a current gen. I call it an in-betweener. And I'm calling it in-betweener because it is so much superior to the original system, the Xbox One S and the Xbox One original. It's so far ahead of that, it looks like a next-gen platform to those users. But it's not too far ahead than the next competing platform, which is the Pro. On paper, it looks like it's next gen or it's a big step above. But what we saw at E3 did not show anything that warranted Sony to be worried about. It looks like a 4.2 teraflop system can hang right in there with a 6 teraflop system from Microsoft. That's what it did. Spider-Man, God of War, Days Gone, and the rest of those games look far superior to a lot of the games that Microsoft showed that was supposed to be running on the Xbox One X. I hate to say it, but those are just the facts. Now, mind you, Metro Exodus and what's the last game that they showed? The one that everybody liked?
Anthem.
The Anthem. Those were confirmed to be running on a PC. So until we see those games running on the Xbox One X, then I'm just going to take it for what it is. Until
And what you just
Microsoft.
mentioned right there, it leads to a
Uh huh.
great segue because we were going to talk about the Assassin's Creed Origin running on
Yes.
4K on both Xbox One X and PlayStation 4 Pro, and they're going to be using the same techniques. So you know the deal with that. So just take it away, man. Since you're on
All
fire
right.
right now.
Well, I tell you what, guys. With this whole Xbox One X, um, it's opened my eyes and some other people's eyes to think that we've been lied. We've been lied to for
Mm,
the last year and a half.
mm.
This system was touted as being the big behemoth, the beast to slay to slay Godzilla from Japan. Well, come to find out, all of these games that are basically coming out are running neck and neck, same resolution and same frame uh, as the PlayStation 4 Pro. And to
Hmm.
make matters even worse, Microsoft has confirmed that the Xbox One X is using not only native resolution games, but checkerboarded games as well as dynamic resolution games. Let that sink in, everybody. Let that sink in. The beast from the west,
The Beast from the West.
6 teraflops, $500, is running games at the same frames in the same resolution as the 4.2 teraflop $399 PlayStation 4 Pro. That is disappointing.
Yeah, and by
This
the way,
system,
everyone on the chat, what Kratos is saying is true right now because it's been confirmed. You could Google it if you want right now. Assassin's Creed Origin is running at the same resolution on Xbox One X as it is on the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's the same resolution, same frame rate, same rendering techniques. It's all been confirmed.
guys, it's all confirmed. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. They're using checkerboard render. They're calling it checkerboard rendering. So they're true HD. Microsoft has summed it up. They released a chart today. So when you see a sticker on the box of a game that says true HD, I mean true Ultra HD, that means your game could be in 4K via native resolution, via checkerboarded rendering 4K, or via dynamic resolution. And dynamic mean sometime it runs at 2160p, other times it'll run at 1800p, and sometime it can run as low as 1440p. The same thing that the PlayStation 4 Pro has been doing for 7 to 8 months. Now, what happened to 4K uncompromised? What happened to 4K 60 everything? Now we have confirmed Assassin's Creed is running dynamic resolution on in 30 frames per second on the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X. I'm not making this up. Also confirmed, there's more games. Basically, all the games that we saw has been guaranteed to run at 4K dynamically, checkerboarded, or native 30 frames per second. The only 60 frame per second 4K game that has been determined to run on the Xbox One X is Forza 7, which is a given because all the previous Forza games that are the motorsports have ran at 1080p 60. It's just not
And
that demanding.
I just want to add to that what you were saying. Most likely, most of the indies will probably be native 4K. Something like Ori and the Blind Forest 2, maybe at 4K, you know. But
Mhm.
like all the other ones out there, especially something like Anthem, It
Yeah,
was confirmed not to run on the Xbox One X, just like
that's
Metro
correct.
Exodus. So take it
That's
away, man.
correct.
I know you. I know you had some shit to say on that.
So, you got Gran Turismo Sport has been confirmed to run at 4K native 60 frames per second. Okay? The same as Forza 7. But here's the thing. This system, this PlayStation 4 Pro is 4.2 teraflops. It costs $399. It has been on the store shelves now, guys, for going on a year, a little bit under a year. So that means while you guys have been holding off for the Scorpio, for the Ryzen and the Vega machine, for the 4K 60 uncompromised machine, for the Beast from the West, um, the PlayStation 4 Pro fans have been enjoying 4K experiences for almost a year. This console has been shitted on by Microsoft, by the fanboys, and you know, and it's been touted as being half-assed and fake 4K. Well, let this sink in. Now the Xbox One S is half-assed. It's fake 4K as well. But this is
But
like
they're gonna be
Sean Layton
okay with it
said.
though. They're gonna be okay with it though.
Yes,
They're
you,
still
you're gonna
gonna
be
buy.
okay. Checkerboard rendering is going to be the next best thing, besides, the next best thing to you. I understand it. That's how you're going to play it. That's how you're going to try to damage control it. You're not going to yell at Microsoft. You're not going to ask Phil, hey, what's going on? Why did we wait a year for this compromised machine? Why are we getting dynamic and some of the same techniques that was used on the Xbox One, and the Xbox One S?
Another thing though,
You,
man. Another gripe I do have with the
uh-huh.
Xbox One X. Now, straight after E3, and I think I mentioned it before on the previous podcast, but I'm gonna mention it again in case nobody here heard it. There was a little video uploaded on the Xbox channel, or I think it was the Gears of War channel, the official channel of Gears of War. And all of y'all know I'm a big fan of Gears of War, man. Gears of War is in my blood. But here's the thing. I bleed Gears. That's just a fact. But here's the thing. Like, I saw this little developer diary kind of thing. It was like a little thing with Rod Ferguson, the director over there at the Coalition. He was talking about this new 4K update for Gears of War 4 on the Xbox One X. And the one thing that really bothered me about it, now they were talking about the improvements. It's going to have the 4K textures. It's going to have improved lighting. There's going to be a whole lot of improvements within the game itself. And that's fine and dandy with me. That's cool. But the one thing that really annoyed me is, the original Gears of War 4 on
Uh-huh.
on the OG Xbox One or the One S, it's running at 1080p 30 frames per second. And it still looks like a good looking game. But here's the thing, he said it's going to be 4K and still at 30 frames per second. And it's a linear game. It's not really
Oh.
open like that. So how could this game be 4K 30? That's the sort of shit that baffles
Oh.
me, yo. I'm like, I was expecting the Gears campaign to be 4K 60. Uncompromised. And this is a first
Um,
party game. Think about it, yo. This is their very own. This is their baby right here. And they couldn't really hit 60 frames per second. At least what you can do is give us the option, right? Give us
yeah.
the 1080p 60 frames per second option. See, Microsoft didn't really explain that at their conference. I don't even know if they're going to give us that kind of option like the PlayStation 4 Pro does. Because on quite a few of their games, they give us that 4K 30 option, and they also give us that 1080 60. With games like Neo, and there's a whole lot of them. I have the list there,
Exactly.
but they give us the option for that. But with this, man, like they're not giving the option for some of the first party games, man, and it's a damn shame.
Yeah. That
You know,
is.
how about Recall, man? Like they mentioned all these other games like Forza, they mentioned Killer Instinct, they mentioned, well, I don't even know, they mentioned Gears of War, and a few games like Halo Wars 2 and so on. But what about Halo 5? Why doesn't that get the 4K upgrade? Because that game could do with a fucking makeover. I tell you that right now. Because the
I
textures
know.
just look god awful, man, and plus it was a dynamic resolution.
Yeah.
That went down to 800, sometimes even 720p.
Well, Wolf, think about it. If that game on the Xbox One and the Xbox One S was dynamic resolution, here you are years later with a 6 teraflop system, and there, the new games on it are still going to be dynamic resolution. Why even upgrade? You're getting the same shit, right?
Well, look, we have a Branco fan 31 saying Iron Wolf hates Halo, and bruh, I don't hate Halo, man. I've bought every Halo game since the first one. Combat Evolved, Halo 2, Halo 3, ODST, Reach, Halo 4, and Halo 5. I don't even know
Listen,
what this guy's talking about. I 100%
just
Halo 5.
just because we're stating the facts, guys, this is not something
So
we're
no, I
making
know
up.
he thinks I'm hating on Halo though. He thinks I hate Halo. I don't hate freaking Halo.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Halo revolutionized shooters on console. I'm always
well,
gonna have respect for Halo. Period.
can I can I say this real quick? I want to say this one thing.
Yeah.
This is to my Xbox brothers and fellow gamers. Guys, it's time out. It's been 4 years. It's time out for holding the line, for not asking Microsoft for more and for better. It's time out. I see
Yeah.
you guys attack people, even your fellow Xbox fans, when they reach out and ask for things like JRPGs and other genre of games. You guys turn around and thrash them for asking Phil and Aaron Greenberg and all the other
Are
Xbox
you talking about
executives.
me?
You're just one in a long line, Wolf. You're just one in a long line. You guys will go and bash your fellow consumer and gamer, people that have been gaming on the Xbox since the OG. You are bashing these guys when they decide to question and ask, legitimate questions about their purchase and investment. Why are you so afraid to do that? Why are you so afraid to ask for more? Some of you guys are going to say, well, you PlayStation guys don't ask PlayStation for more. Well, guess what? These guys are delivering the games we're asking for. They have the Japanese games. They have the indies. They have the VR. They have the racing games. They have the shooters. They have the sports. They have everything. They're giving it to us on a weekly basis. Sure, they could deliver on the name change and small stuff like that, but that's nitpicking compared to getting games. The Xbox has only received 2 games this year so far. That was Halo Wars 2 and freaking Voodoo Vince. Come on now. And you guys are saying, okay, this okay. Okay, before E3, you guys said, wait to E3. We're going to get games, wait to E3. Well, guess what? We've waited to E3. What games are we getting for the rest of the year? Crackdown at launch and
Forza.
what else? I don't even know. And then Forza, something that comes out every year. That's no surprise. And you guys are okay with that. You are not real gamers if you are okay and afraid to ask the company that you support and spend money on to ask them for the games that you want. You are not real gamers if you thrash your fellow gamers for asking the questions that you are afraid to ask. You may be okay with not having games to play or any current games. Don't tell me I'm playing Rise, I'm playing Halo. Those games were released 2 and 3 years ago. Stop it. Stop it. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, stop talking about Sunset Overdrive and freaking Rise and Dead Rising. Like, those are launch games.
You guys are embarrassing, and you're the reason Microsoft is giving you old ass games. Old ass games is okay as a supplement to new games. If you're not getting new games, but they're providing you with old ass games that you've played 10 and 15 and 20 years ago. There's something wrong with that. And now they're delivering a brand new system that's cost $500, and they're giving you Xbox, the OG Xbox games. And third party, you don't get credit for third party. Those games, they go on every platform. Some even go on the
Facts.
iPhone and iPad.
Facts.
Come on, it's time. It's time for that to stop, guys. You have to say, look, it's not about the console wars. It's not about that anymore. It's about you supporting a company and a company supporting you by providing you with great games. Phil Spencer said that forget about single player experience games like Zelda and Horizon. They are just not what's up. Well, I'm here to tell you, Horizon and Zelda have sold so many freaking copies in such a short time. You guys should be begging for those type of games and experiences. Do not let those executives brainwashing you into becoming second-class gamers. You are already the laughing stock of the industry. Stop it. You need
Laughing
to
stock
stop
in the
it.
community right now, bruh.
You are. So you need to stop it. And some of you guys have huge YouTube channels and networks. You guys have come to me and told me that you're afraid to speak your mind and to ask Phil and those guys
My God.
for the games that you want because your fan base are going to ridicule you and unsub from you. Let that sink in. Now,
And
you can
let me
call
chime
me.
in on this. Let me chime in
You
on
can
this.
call me for. You can call me whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I buy and I play more games than all of you guys probably combined.
Facts.
Those are just the facts. Whether
I,
it's Nintendo, whether it's Microsoft, or whether it's a Sony product, whether it's PC, I got it all, baby. I got it all.
Yo, I cannot think of
Go
one game
ahead.
you haven't bought, man. I cannot think of
Go
one game
ahead.
you haven't bought, man. I just want to add to that. No, man,
Go
like,
ahead and chime
you
in,
know,
Wolf.
no, but you were talking about, not being afraid of speaking your mind and just letting them know what it is and how it is. Like, I've been trying to tell people this, that, yo, man, like, you gotta let them know, man. Like, look, a lot of people who have, like, YouTube channels, man, you gotta make your voice heard out there. And a lot of them are afraid to speak on it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want
They
to
are.
talk on it before. They were like, oh man, like, but I have a certain fan base, I have a certain subscriber base. I don't want people unsubbing to me because that's going to be my YouTube revenue going down. They're afraid because they've built this fan base out. They have this cult where if you're going to say a certain thing that will, like I said, that'll rub them the wrong way, they're going to unsub to you. They're going to unfollow you. They want to mess with you. They will excommunicate you. And like, I just end up doing it myself, man. I was like, you know what? Fuck this, man. I'm gonna speak on it right now because I'm not really happy with this purchase. I'm not happy with the console. I'm just not really happy with the way things stand right now. And I made it known. I think I was a loudmouth. I was really loud about this shit. I took it to Phil Spencer. I really did. And
Yeah.
he recognized that, he understood, and he did go out to Japan and he tried to bring some of these games over to the platform, and I'll give him credit for that. He
Yeah.
listened, but he knows himself that he needs to do more, and I'm sure he will do more. But I'm just talking about the radicals and the morons out there that just don't say shit. They're happy to limit themselves. Having less, I guess, is acceptable to them. I'm a sort of guy. I want everything.
Look,
I want that variety, yo. And if I'm not getting it, I'm gonna go elsewhere, which I did.
yeah. Here's the thing. I game on everything. You know that, Wolf. Most of you guys
Facts.
that are out there, you guys know that. I game with you guys on the Xbox. I game with you guys on PC. I game with you guys on the Switch, and I game with you guys on the PlayStation. It doesn't really matter. But I'm getting frustrated here because Microsoft is not providing me what I want in my investment in my gaming hobby that I love on my platform that I love. They're not giving me that because my fellow gamers are not supporting the stuff that they're bringing. They gave you Rise. They gave you you know, just endless amount of games. You know, why are we not getting Rise 2? Why are we not getting a Sunset Overdrive 2? Why are we not getting a Quantum Break 2? Why are we not getting sequels? Because you guys are too busy yapping on YouTube and Twitter and fanboying, but at the same time you're not buying the game.
And I don't want to name
Half of
drop.
my
I don't want to name drop some of these Xbox YouTubers out there. I'm not going to do that.
No,
But what I'm
we're
going to
not.
say,
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do
a
that.
lot of these guys who you're subscribed to, you worship, and you're a sheep to, these are the same guys out there that own the PlayStation 4 and the Pro. They buy that shit. They buy every game for it, but then they're not going to tell you about it. You know what I mean? So you probably know some of them that already have it, but you know the way they're going to program your head, they're going to go around saying that it's trash, it's garbage, or whatever, and you guys follow, man. You guys are just sheeps.
Yeah.
I'm here to let you know
listen,
that the PlayStation 4 is a great fucking console. If you don't own one, you're just not a gamer, period. Everything is on here, from JRPGs to fighters. You know what I mean? The shooters are here. They got exclusive content to all your favorite shooters like Call of Duty, the Destinies. You know what I mean? They even have marketing deals with games like Red Dead.
Yeah.
You know, they have it all here. First party, third party, you name it. Single player experiences. You know, narrative driven games like freaking Heavy Rain and fucking Detroit Become Human. They have it. They have everything. They have it all, yo. But you're the guys that want to limit yourself and pretend that you're happy with the Xbox when deep down you're not. And those guys who you follow on YouTube and watch their podcasts every freaking week that hide their freaking gaming profiles.
Because they game on PlayStation. That's just the fact.
Exactly. They game on PlayStation, but they're not going to tell you.
They tell you not to buy a PlayStation,
and the only reason
system.
And the only reason they will say the PlayStation is dog shit, so you stay subscribed to them, that you still follow them and everything. Otherwise, you know something. Yeah, it's a motherfucking fact, man.
Those are the facts. Those are just the facts, guys. I've been on plenty of podcasts where I've basically kind of had a heart-to-heart moment with my fellow Xbox gamers and PlayStation gamers about supporting these games. You know, Wolf will tell you, you know, I told you my first Persona game was Persona 5. I bought that game on your recommendation. You said it was a great game. So I went out and bought that game, and within 5 minutes, I'm pissed because I'm pissed at my friends because I'm wondering where the hell I've been for the first 4 Personas. Why haven't anybody told me about this game before? The game is freaking awesome. I'm staying up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning playing it. I can't put it down, but none of my friends have told me about these games. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about, man. As a community, we have to be honest with ourselves. We can't, you know, it's okay to fanboy just to kind of brag, just like you do with the NFL teams and your favorite ball team and stuff like that. That's one thing. But for you to shit on a console or a game and not go and support it, and yet you turn around and you're still asking for more games, how can you ask for sequels to games that you didn't go out and buy? I know guys right now that are my friends that will fanboy till the cows come home, but when you ask them if they picked up Tekken 7, if they picked up, you know, Friday the 13th, Guilty Gear, you know, Revelator 2, if they picked up, you know, Dragon Quest Heroes 2, if they picked up Neo, if they picked out, you know, MLB, most of them are going to look at you funny and say, no, I haven't had a chance to pick up yet. Why not?
Yeah.
Stop talking if you don't buy. I buy games even if it's something I'm not interested in because I like to support my community and support the developers. That guarantees me that I will get a sequel and these developers will keep going on. Perfect example, Guerrilla Games. These guys have been making only shooters. They've only made the
Killzone
the Killzone series. They go to their boss and say, "Hey, look, we have a great idea on another game." You know what Sony said? Well, shit, go try it. Let's see what happens. Then you end up with a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, arguably one of the best games ever created, arguably the best graphical fidelity game ever created thus far. Naughty Dog said they have to step their game up over Guerrilla Games after they saw that game. This is how competition works. This is how you support your community. You go out and you buy games.
Facts.
It's sad. I see some of the biggest fanboys out there with a 2-star PlayStation gamer score or a 3,000 gamer score on Xbox. And you call yourself a gamer?
No, the same guys who are pretty loud on YouTube are the same guys who watch Netflix and Hulu on their Xbox. Like, I've seen it myself. I don't want to name drop anyone, but I've seen a lot of them just watch TV and Netflix. But yet you want to be so busy on social media damage controlling for a corporation that don't give two fucks about you, man. Like, wake the fuck up, yo. You know what I'm saying? Just wake up. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. If these guys don't want to be your friend or they don't want to rock out with you, that means they won't your friend. They won't even your friends to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they want to kick you out of their cult,
you're right.
Then they were freaking
You're
frauds
right.
to begin with, man.
You're right. Now keep in mind, again, guys, there's nothing wrong with being fanboys. I didn't say that. I'm a professed fanboy troll. That's what I do. I'm on Twitter all day, starting stuff, keeping the conversation going, cracking jokes, putting out memes and gifs. That's just what I do. But at the end of the day, there's not one person that can tell you that I don't go out and buy almost every new game that come out.
Yeah.
And play it. That's just what I do.
You know
but what I'm
like,
saying is, do not go out and dick ride these corporations and be a corporate slave, and then you don't turn around and support the company by buying the games. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree with you, man, and it is what it is, man. But let's move on to the final topic, man, before we close the show, man. Like, Sony just announced that they're gonna have a PSX this year too, which is pretty awesome. They've given the dates and everything. I don't know if tickets are on sale right now or what's going on, but it's great to see that they're gonna have another dedicated event for their platform. They're gonna have this show for most of their first parties, a few third parties, and a couple of indies here and there. But here's my question to you, Kratos, man.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that Sony didn't really announce that many new games at this year's E3, like new games, like new stuff that we don't even know about, like the Sucker Punch IP, like a potential Devil May Cry 5, or even Miyazaki's new IP. It could have been Bloodborne 2, or it could have been a new IP, who knows. But since we never had anything from Software or Sucker Punch, do you think they've saved those for PSX?
Yes. Of course they did.
And do you also think slowly, these big companies out there, they're slowly gonna kind of boycott E3? Because I don't know, like Nintendo don't even do an E3. They don't even do a press conference. They do a live stream during that time. But do you think slowly, look what happened with Gamescom? Like, Sony haven't really showed up for 2 years straight, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's
1 year.
correct.
Or last year they didn't show up. But
they didn't show up last year.
But then here's the thing: if you have your own, and this is a great thing though, if you have your own dedicated press conference, your own event, that means you're creating the slot for yourself and you're not sharing it with anybody else. That means when it comes down to mindshare and everything like that, when it comes down to trends, everything. I mean, everybody, including the media and gamers out there, they're going to be talking about your event and your platform only. So come December and you do your event, no one's going to talk about the Xbox. No one's going to talk about Nintendo. They're just going to be talking about Sony. But when it comes down to E3, when it comes down to the mindshare, it's so divided because everyone's talking about everything. It's like things are
Yeah.
all over the place. So I feel like Sony really want to focus on their own thing, and maybe some of those games that they push back, they may well show it at this year's PSX, including The Last of Us 2 gameplay. I think we may well see The Last of Us 2 gameplay.
Well, I agree. I totally agree. You got to think about it, Wolf. We chatted about this a little bit before we went live.
Yeah.
Sony came out E3 last year, showed you just an awesome amount of games. But again, those games, they didn't have a release date on them because people said previously, stop giving us release dates of games that are 2 and 3 years away. Okay, fine. PSX roll around, they show you all the games that you didn't see previously. They showed you all kind of other games. Okay, they didn't give you any release dates. Okay, fine. Fast forward to E3 this year. They didn't show you any new games besides, one or two of them, but they actually gave you release dates now of the previous games. And guess what people said? Oh, they didn't show anything new. But gamers are fickle. As a community, we are very fickle. We really don't know what we want. This is why Microsoft is caught in a bad position of trying to gauge what its fan base really want. They don't really know what they want. Some of the biggest companies in the world, like Google and Apple, they don't ask their fans what they want. They dictate what their fans are going to buy. When they come out with a new iPhone, every other year, they don't ask you what you want to see.
They don't ask you how much RAM
something.
should be on the phone or what graphics processor should be on the phone. They don't ask you that shit.
Exactly.
Whether
They're
it's a
say,
Snapdragon
hey,
or A6 or A7 chip, they'll put whatever the hell they
correct.
want and then fucking ship it to you, man. Whether you like
correct.
it or not.
But to tell you the truth, if customers had to create a phone, it would be the most dysfunctional, ugliest, biggest, smallest, dumb, non-functional object that could ever be created because everybody's taste is different. This is why Microsoft needs to take a page out of Sony's book. If you offer a vast array of different experiences, whether you into VR, Japanese game, Western games, action games, shooters, sports, they have something for everybody. So nobody can say they left me out. Microsoft, on the other hand, only have shooters and racers. That's it. They left the guy who likes the RPGs out. They left we loved Fable, but they canceled the thing. They closed the studio. We loved the games that Lionhead used to give us. They closed that studio. We and all of these other we were looking forward to Scalebound, Japanese action RPG game. They canceled that game. So they closed everything down that people were asking for. And so that left them in this position that they have now where third party are going to have to fill that void.
Yeah, I hear you. But but back on topic though, as far as like the PSX and them having their own dedicated event and be more committed to it, do you think that's the right thing to do? Keep E3 as more of a secondary thing. Just show like, a few things here or there, but like do all the world premieres at PSX. The unveiling of your new games and your new IPs at PSX. Do you think that's like the more wise thing to do?
I do. I like that strategy, and I'm going to tell you why. Not everybody can go to E3. E3 is so packed. With experiences like the PSX, it's more closed off. It's more, intimate. And you get to interact with only your particular fans and people like that. So for the people on the outside, they're going to be intrigued. They're going to say, you know what? I've never got into PlayStation or whatever, but man, that conference that they had showed Spider-Man, The Last of Us, and all these awesome graphical fidelity games that look really interesting. Let me go over here and see what they have. Because when you're at E3, you're looking at Nintendo stuff, you're looking at PC stuff, you're looking at Xbox, you're looking at PlayStation, you're looking at everything. It's so crowded. It's such I'm watching these Periscope videos of all of these YouTubers there, and there's like a 1 million people there, man. How can you obviously wait in the line for an hour just to see and play one game?
For 15
I don't
minutes.
like that. For 50, yeah, for 10 minutes maybe. So I do love that they have multiple things like Tokyo Gaming Show, Gamescom for the European crowd. Over here for the West, we have,
Facts.
E3, but, I'd like, the Xbox has their fanfare thing that's just for their guys, so I get that. But
No, but
I
no,
don't
we're
want,
talking about a press conference. Like a fan fest is a completely different thing. That's just a meet up with all the fans and just
mhm,
interact with your fans and take selfies and pictures. That's what really a fan fest is, and you get to talk to some of the developers or Phil Spencer or whatever.
mhm.
That's what a fan fest is, and they treat you
Well,
really
okay,
good.
I
They
thought
take
they,
care of you.
I thought
But
they
with
showed games and stuff.
no, they don't show.
I
They
thought I
have
didn't know. Yeah,
demos of games. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
There'll be like a demo unit, or
yeah,
there'll be a lot of SKUs over there. Of certain demos of certain games, but no, they don't announce any new games. That's not what a
yeah,
fan fest is. But
yeah,
what I'm saying about PSX is that it's it's a 2-3 day holiday, right, for PlayStation fans.
yeah.
Like you have the press conference, which is I think 90 minutes or maybe 2 hours. I don't know, but
Hmm.
it's a very long conference. They show banger after banger. They show some of the games that they left on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. No, no, no. I
that's
agree.
when the bench, that's when a lot of the games on the bench it gets some of that stage time. It gets some of that action. So that's what PSX is there for, and that's why we have Tokyo Game Show. And I really feel like, you know, Microsoft should like follow suit, do what Sony are doing. Have your own dedicated event away from E3. If you want to show a few things on E3, you could show a few things here and there. Keep it more indie at E3 because it seems like after seeing this year's E3, you like to keep it indie. So keep it indie at E3 and then show all your big bangers, if you have any, at your own dedicated event. It just makes more sense. You get all
Yeah,
the
but you know
Xbox
what?
enthusiasts going there. You know what I'm saying? And again, when it comes down to mindshare on social media and everything, everybody's gonna talk about the Xbox at that point. It won't be like E3, where you're gonna
Well,
have your press conference and then
mhm,
people will just move on to the next thing, and they'll forget you even existed.
yeah, I
That's what I'm
get it.
saying. So have
I
your
think
own
it's a.
dedicated event, man. Do it wherever. Anywhere in America. Do it in San Francisco, the same place where Sony do theirs with PSX.
Yeah,
Do something like that, man. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna appreciate it. Period.
yeah,
And it's a great fan service.
uh,
Like PSX to me, it's a great fan service, man.
yeah. I mean, I'm going this year, so I will be, streaming to the Greatness Podcast channel. So all you guys in the comment section, I hope you rock out with me. And for those of you who can't be there, I do want to bring that experience there for you. So I'm going to stream from some GoPro cameras connected to my hat. So you
Oh
guys can see
man,
everything I see and bring you that experience for all you fans and fellow gamers that can't be there. I'm going to try to do that.
definitely, man. That's what's up. I think we went over the 2.5 hour mark, man. So we
Yeah.
we went pretty long, longer than we thought we were gonna go. But I think we should close it right here. It's been a great, awesome podcast. Probably the longest we've done, really, to be perfectly honest. But then again, it was E3 week, and we had to cover all three, platforms like Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, and then all the topics in between. But it was a great show. Do appreciate everybody on the comment section who listened. But once again, Kratos, man, plug in your channel, shout yourself out, let the people know where to find you, how to reach out to you, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff, and yeah, let them know when the next Godcast is gonna be aired.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Everybody, it's your boy J Dub, aka Kratos, the God of PlayStation. You guys can find me on Twitter, man, at JDubCity16. I'm always keeping it live. I'm always, keeping you guys laughing with the gifs and the memes and the smart remarks and stuff like that. I game on everything. I'm obviously trying to play the role of the PlayStation guy, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that can keep me from a game. I hope you guys follow me. The next Godcast, Kratos Underground presents the Godcast, will be airing tomorrow
Mm.
at 6 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay tuned. Every time, every show, it's exactly 30 minutes on the dot because I don't like taking up a lot of you guys' time. And I'm also going to have each show is going to be a different person that's going to be on there. So I'm just trying something new. I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys rock out with me.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah, be sure to subscribe to Kratos, man, the God of PlayStation. Anyway, this is your boy Iron Wolf, the guy that takes the W's and hands over the L's, man. Signing out. It's been a great E3, but one thing I do want to say to you losers and you weirdos out there is that you lose. Perfect.